All right, guys, it's 6 o'clock. I'm here with one of my best buddies, Chris Higa of TLR. He is the software manager for the fifth scale side of Horizon Hobbies, and I've known Chris probably since I started racing. When he went back to the old hobby shop days at Ultimate, right? Ultimate Hobby back in the day.
Yeah, when you used to drag your wagon into SoCal.
Exactly. I used to have a red wagon. I used to drag all my stuff plus an air compressor. Even though they had an air compressor there, I'd bring my own and pack all my stuff up in a Honda Civic. My mom and dad would drive me to SoCal Raceway, and Chris was always there. He was always fast with his Losi Stadium trucks. We used to race back in the day, stock truck and stuff like that. When I would probably cry off the driver's stand and everything when I would lose. So it's
back when I thought I was fast.
Back in the day. So now we're battling it out in fifth scale, and probably some of the guys that are trying to champion the entire scale and try and bring it to the forefront, especially here in the U.S. And Chris is obviously doing it all over the place as well. And we travel around the country with these things, and just awesome to have you on, buddy. Kind of introduce anything I might have missed, and thank you for coming on tonight, buddy, during these crazy times.
Yeah, it's fun. Everyone's trying not to go stir crazy, sitting at home, in doing trying to be good, right, with your social distancing and things like that. I mean, it's you're trying to do the right thing. I know it's hard for everybody because, one, we all want to go racing. So, I'm sure by the time we decide to get back to it, all of our cars are going to be immaculate, super dialed, fresh. Eventually I'll get to work on my own stuff when I get to stop working on project cars and actual work. Because those things, are still out in the trailer. I haven't been in the trailer in like a week and a half, 2 weeks, but all the stuff in my office seems to get destroyed every day, and I have to try and put half the stuff away. So,
yeah, man, this whole thing is throwing us all for a loop, and it's just everything's been going on. So I'm just glad you're safe, glad people are staying safe, and I think Horizon Hobbies was one of the first ones to kind of close up shop there. Send all their employees, get them working at home, which is awesome. Awesome that the company's able to do that and still be able to function on a day-to-day basis. Horizon Hobbies, awesome. They're a huge part of why you have a job, why I've got cool products to make for them. And running the series and everything like that, the Mod Fifth Scale Championship Series, and it's just, they're a huge part of it, and it's an awesome company, and I think the biggest RC distributor, in the world right now. So
cool. Horizon has been doing an awesome job just trying to make sure all of us are safe. Pretty much all the product development, engineering staff, even I think our customer service, everyone's working from home, but our warehouses are still working. So if you do order something from hh.com or they're still shipping parts.
You can see my 22 X4 right there.
I did see a freshie box up there.
They're still shipping parts. I just got that puppy, so I'm really excited about that car.
For all the local California people that had accounts and our team drivers that were so accustomed to being up to do things will call and go get them. Yeah, they won't let you in the building now. That's done.
Yeah, that's over. That's over. COVID has put a stop to that.
Yeah, they even have us, like, if we go to the office now, we have to sign in like a visitor to let them know that we were there, just so they can keep track of everyone, which is good because they're trying to make sure that they're doing the right thing, being responsible, taking the steps to do that, but while still maintaining some form of normalcy for people. So, a lot of us, I know, like we said, everyone now is sitting at home. So something you can do that's not going to break the bank is, hey, I can fix my RC cars. I only need these small parts. Then you can take it all apart, clean it, and go run it out in the rain apparently right now, get it all dirty, and then take it apart again and clean it again.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the awesome things about RC is that, it is kind of an individual sport. You're able to do it on your own and, bashers and crawlers and everything like that. But I think, our community that I would say the racing community, we've been hit bad, man. All the events have been canceled. We don't know how far this thing's going to go out. But yeah, people are getting their stuff ready. I'm still shipping out stuff here at Mod. Still shipping shocks, clutches, all sorts of goodies. So go on there if you guys need anything.
Yep.
I've got everything basically in stock. But yeah, this is crazy times that we're in. I just want to get back to racing. We had to end up not canceling, but postponing our Bakersfield round that all of us were excited about at Good Old Boys Raceway. I haven't said anything yet because I don't know what the government's going to do, but our third round at Victorville, since that's on the 24th and this whole thing's, I think they're almost extending it to the 15th now, not the 31st.
Yeah, I heard on the news earlier today, I think they were kind of trying to extend that shelter in place till May 15th. So,
yep. So
which kind of messes up the Victorville round a little bit.
Yep, messes up the Victorville round.
I need to talk to the guys at Fear Farm too, because we normally would redo we'll at least make some track changes for that rounds in May. Right?
May. It's Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, it's my birthday weekend. I want to go racing on my birthday. Damn it!
I know, man. My birthday is the 16th. My birthday's in 6 days. I want to be old, man. You know me.
What are you going to be, like 21 so you get carded?
That's how I look. I look 21. But no, I'm going to be 29, man. I'm getting old. You know me probably since I was about 10 years old.
I was going to say like 10 or 11. I don't know, a long.
It's been a super long time. It's been a super
that's when I could still beat you. Now it's quite a bit harder. So. Now
the strategy that you have is you're like, you know what? Matt pushes his stuff so much, 50-50 shot that he's going to break down. I
just need to push him hard enough where he doesn't decide he has to slow, where he doesn't think he can slow down, and hope that I can make him break. So.
You have been doing really good lately. Talking about racing, we just had the 5th scale Worlds, which was there was a Worlds event before that was held out in Indiana that large scale RC did, and we went out there as well. And that was super good times, but now ended up Brian Sullivan, I think, kind of resurrected it. Now is having the 5th scale Worlds in Victorville, and you did quite well, I think, in one-year classes, did you not?
Well, I did well in buggy. In truck, I got up to 4th before I decided that I started to blow out. Had some issues with, I think, the tank. I don't know if I either cracked the tank or it air leaked, because it would like with about 5 or 6 minutes to go, like it started acting up. So I think that tank is getting replaced now, because it happened actually at the round 1 in Fear Farm with Mod Series. Thought I fixed it because I didn't have any of the issues with it all through qualifying. Qualified well with the truck, and was running up to, I think I was up to about 4th with maybe about 10 minutes to go. Truck was running strong, and then it just kind of started acting up. We brought it into pits a couple times, ended up losing a couple laps. At that point in time, I'm like, yeah, it's probably pretty done. Then I started being silly, jumping that triple in the back that you kept hitting just because it was fun.
I made it every time, man.
Not necessarily. I don't know if it was any faster, but it was really fun. But
it was intimidating, that's for sure. When you did it, you're like, oh.
I came up short and bounced off the top of it one time. On one of the times, because I went off the top of the thing, and the motor kind of bogged just a hair. Yeah, after that lap, I pulled it in. It's like, all right, I really don't feel like fixing my truck if I nose into that thing, because I knew that something was wrong, and I was just out there having a good time. And I'm like, I'm already 4th, 5th at that point in time. I'm like, you're off the box. Kind of doesn't. At that point in time, you're like, I'm gonna have to listen to Matt tell me he won, or Little Bear, that I really didn't have a whole lot for those guys anyway. It was more a all right, well, let's see if we can get onto the box. So
it was a really good time. There was a lot of good competition. I ended up, unfortunately, I got tagged when I was in 2nd on like the first lap, and it turtled me, and then I I went straight to last in the first lap, and I had to catch all the way up. I had the truck with the fastest times. Truck was amazing, and we hadn't seen that kind of traction, I think, in a very long time. Traction came up like a lot at Victorville. We were on almost, I would say, blue groove conditions, and we were burning through tires. Something that I don't like to do, but it's also very fun to drive. And set up for.
Like I said, I'm very fortunate that Proline takes good care of me.
Yeah, I'm thinking about everybody though, Chris. I'm thinking about me and you. It doesn't matter. J Concepts.
But honestly, I ran the event on 2 sets of tires for each car. I ran a set in practice, and I ran those in qualifying, and I ran in the last round of qualifying. So round 3 of qualifying, I ran the set of tires I was going to run in the main. So they scrubbed in a little bit.
Gotcha. Yeah, I ran like 2.5 to 3 sets on my truck. Brand new set for the main, and I think I was going through, I would say, a set every 2 qualifiers, which I can usually run a set for the entire weekend. So that it in my opinion, that was probably the one downside that I had about it. But other than that, it was super fun. Track was really fun. The layout was great.
Yeah.
The competition.
Brian, those guys did a great job.
They did an awesome job with the event, the backdrop, the trophies. Everything was really, really top notch. I had a great time. Just the only thing that I would have wished for is less tire wear. But there's always going to be something.
But I know when they run that track wet, it gets slimy, and then it gets slick.
Yeah.
So I myself would prefer that it was dry like that, because the car was generally pretty consistent, and to me it was a lot easier to tune because you knew you were going to have grip. So you weren't necessarily fighting your suspension or a sway bar change or a camber link change or adjustment because you had grip. You're going, okay, I'm going to put it in the corner, and I'm pretty sure it's going to stick.
I know, but I like to drift, Chris. You know me. I like to power over and drift that thing.
That's why if I'm in front of you, I can make my car really wide because I know where you want to go.
That's my driving style. So you did awesome. So we'll get off truck a little bit. You did really well in buggy. Yeah. So how'd you end up overall?
So I ended up winning in buggy overall.
With the 5B.
Yeah, ran a TLR 5B. I did run a long arm car since everyone kind of has.
I love it. I love the different long arm car. It's great.
I mean, the long arm car. It is easier to drive. I mean,
yeah, it's really good. I got mine sitting down there right now, and during this kind of like COVID time that's happening, I'm telling my buddy Jason, because he's over here helping me out, and I'm like, dude, we need to get her going again. I'm like, I need to give Chris a little bit of a run for his money. He's a little bit too much, and I need to come over and give you some competition.
I had both cars there, though. I had my long arm car there, and I had my short arm car there.
Yeah,
I had both cars.
I can't afford
to. Both actually ran in the main because Enriquez decided he wanted to race truck on Friday, and
I know that's still my motor.
We put a motor in my other car and kind of tweaked on my setup a little bit there. I mean, I haven't ran that car in a little bit, but he literally threw it down on Saturday and was instantly fast with it.
That's awesome. Yeah, Kevin Enriquez is a super great guy, very, very fast, very talented, always a hoot. And we need to get him out to some more races. I'm glad he's back. Brent Bisbee's coming back. Josh Mitchell. So we have kind of the old crew, some of the old pros kind of coming back to the scene and really making the pro class cool again. Something that we kind of lost, I'd say, after kind of the chases went away, that haven't enjoyed in quite a while. So it's good to see those guys back again.
Yeah, it's definitely good. It makes for good competition, and you know just as much as I do. I mean, the racing is always fun, but I think we all have almost as much fun camping out, hanging out, barbecuing.
Definitely.
The nightlife sometimes can get very interesting.
That was interesting with Brent Bisbee on
last night racing with Bisbee's 8X. Oh my gosh! And then you can't let Kevin drive anything because Kevin will break it.
Oh well, that's just standard.
Like, did you? I think he broke the front bulkhead and shock tower off the front of Bisbee's thing with that crazy $high flashlight he had on it.
It would have been better to take a Sawzall to it than what Enriquez did to the car. So it's
yeah, he got a little bit wild in that jump section.
It is what it is. So man, it's great to have you on. I know I posted up some questionnaires beforehand.
Yeah.
One with the buggy, you know the question that's going to come up.
Yeah.
Guys asking, is there a 2.0 buggy? Is there a 2.0 buggy? And the current buggies, where do you get the current buggies from? And are parts still available for this thing? So it's an awesome car.
Current buggies are going to be available through DDM.
Okay.
They will be the only place that has kits, unless some dealer wants to order them and distribute them from DDM. DDM will be the only place that has new car kits. They will have car kits for a while. They should hopefully be in maybe later part of this month, maybe early May.
Way cool.
Parts will be available. So we'll have parts.
Horizon and everywhere?
Yeah. Horizon will have parts. DDM should have parts. But DDM will be the only one that has kits. Okay. I can neither confirm nor deny that there will be a new kit. But I'm always working on stuff to make things better or to make things so we can all have a good time. So you can take that for what you want. I don't know when it would happen. Like I have a lot of projects on my plate right now, with things going on that take a priority over something like that, that would be happening. So, I can tell you this: if there's a new buggy, it won't be this year. How's about that?
Well, you know what? I don't know if anything's going to be this year, Chris.
Yeah.
With this COVID thing, I don't think. We might not even race the rest of this year.
If according to my project schedules, there's things coming this year.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. I hope racing is gonna be back this year. We need it to happen.
Yeah.
We need it to happen. So we have David Sandine. You're gonna know this. I don't know what the SBR 2.0 is. What is that? Is that considered the buggy?
No, that's the Super Baja Ray. He's talking about the 6-scale electric trophy truck.
So is there going to be a 2.0?
We're always working on new stuff. So you know the standard. You know the standard answer for things like that. That
anything's going to come. We're always working on new stuff.
We're always working on stuff.
Let me see. Barry Baker. Hey, Chris, when will my fifth scale be ready? I know this one as well. He's always working on stuff, Barry. Yeah. He's always working on stuff.
I told Barry when Barry wants to go racing, I will have a car or truck ready for him to go.
So that's when your fifth scale is going to be ready, when you show up to the track, Barry.
Or he'll race my car, and then I'll be and I'll race something else, or I'll race my buggy, he'll race my truck, or vice versa. Something like that.
So we have Philip Stojeski. I'm butchering his last name. One fifth scale Super Baja Ray. We're always working on new stuff.
Well, the problem with the fifth scale Super Baja Ray with the solid axle, like Kraken makes one. So they make the Vecta 0.5. It's a really cool car. I don't know if the market will support a third car like that, because there's actually two fifth scale solid axle trucks out there already. There's the Kraken Vecta. He makes a solid axle truck like that. Looks like an Ultra 4 car. And then there's a Dragon Hammer, which is kind of like a DBXL based version of a solid axle car. They're, a lot of those cars, the biggest thing with theirs is they're a lot of aluminum. They're heavy, and they're pretty pricey. Is the big thing is, you can't go into, I think, the market space with a car that's going to cost people $2,000 to get it running as an RTR. Even at $1,500 to get it running, that's around the cap of where I think it's a lot of people are willing to pay to play. Like the 5T 2.0, they're willing, I think, to pay to play because you're getting a Zenoa G320 in the car. You're on a proven platform. There's been improvements to make the truck better. But that to me is about like kind of just over the last 5 years, watching how things have progressed. That's where it is, because I think those Vectas were coming in around like originally ready to run. They were like $1,800. And then, if you start doing what we do, $1,800, and go, oh, let me drop a motor into it. Let me drop a pipe into it. You put one of our Bartolone engines in there. That's what, $800-900 pipe, couple $100. You got $1,000 in a motor package, $100 for a clutch. It adds up quick. So
it definitely does. And but it's a hobby. I still think it's the cheapest form of,
I will say there is that Vecta trophy truck, the solid axle one, that Kraken trophy truck. That thing looks pretty bad. Paul Coleman has one that was pretty sick.
I've seen them. They're way cool. Guys put a ton of money into them. It's a hobby. And all in all, we're all in this to have a good time. And
don't get me wrong. I probably, if I had more time to actually play with cards, I'd probably have one just because I think they look cool.
Yeah.
and I just being the RC nerds that we are sometimes, you're like, I just want it because it looks cool.
Yeah. No, it is way dialed. Way dialed. So let's see here. We have Kevin Enriquez, Red Cup Racing. That was them that night.
That was Red Cup Racing started on Wednesday night.
Yeah, he tripled that night. I think he might have tripled by running himself with how good he was on that night right there.
Well, that
was not a good one that night. There was much apologies and much water in the morning.
Well, when it starts in the middle of the afternoon, that's when the night's going to be good. So
yeah, and talking about night, we got Neil Pesca here, one of our buddies and TLR guys out and mod guys out on the East Coast. Neil's camping is what makes One Fifth Scale scene the bomb. Yeah, I would say that's probably like the part that I love about. That's why all mod events are 2-day events, and sometimes if you go there for practice, 3-day events, because you do get a lot more out of the event when you are able to hang out with your buddies, spend some time there, wrench at night, go around, have potluck type things. Everybody's cooking out.
Go to everybody's trailer and see who will feed you.
Exactly. I never have to buy like any food for dinner because I get fed by everybody. They're like, "Hey, come on over," and that's cool with me because I cannot cook. So
that's our. We're going to talk to your mom and we're going to make you start drinking diet Dr. Pepper because I know she wants you to stop.
I know. I need to cut it out. It's just so easy. I have a mini fridge right here, like right by me.
Of course, I'm the one sitting there with a Monster telling you to drink sugar, but at least mine's 0 sugar. And
so yeah. Part of the whole Fifth Scale thing, I would say, is definitely the Fifth Scale family. Everybody is way cool, and it's so kicked back. Versus, because I've been in every scale, and nothing compares to the Fifth Scale scene. As far as just how people are inviting, and everybody's just so chill. And you're just out there just having fun with your your friends, and that's what RC is about. And I think Fifth Scale embodies that entire.
I think the Fifth Scale people and crawling people have kind of a lot of the same mentality.
Yes.
Have fun first, winning and all this other stuff. Oh man, what's Jason bringing you for food?
Dude, I got all sorts. Oh, I need a knife. I'm not gonna have
agony.
I'm gonna have to cut it with like an X-Acto blade. I have there's Modelo's up top. Modelo. Right here. Oh.
You're afraid of the coronavirus, so you have Modelo.
You know what? They just closed down. That's cold too. They just closed down. What was it? Modelo something?
Grupo Modelo.
Grupo Modelo, which makes Modelo, Corona, and Pacifico. So get on if you guys want Corona or Modelo.
You got to go stock up.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's Thank you, Jason. Yep. We have an awesome little a Mexican restaurant down here, and I have to say takeout because everything is takeout these days.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, we're here at Mod Shop right now, and just trying to stay out of this whole thing. We go back to the house, we come back and organize and clean and ship out some products, and then we're back at it again. But it's good. It's good. I'm just hoping that this whole thing ends really soon.
Well, the Mod Shop should be super organized by the time we're done with it. It should start to look like MIP.
Yes, it's going to. Like it's getting there. So everybody knows I'm pretty scatterbrained, and you need some more able to kind of take a breath because I'm always on the go my entire life. Every 2 weeks I've been somewhere. I'm traveling somewhere. It doesn't fail. But now, like, basically they're forcing me to stay inside. So now I'm like, okay, well now I actually have time on my hands to do other things that haven't been able to do. So it's a good thing.
You're going to get organized, and then you're not going to be able to find anything.
You're right. Yeah. Or I'll be able to find everything. I'll be like, oh, I forgot I had that.
Yeah.
So we had Everett Tech. I think he's up in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. Good news. 5B, it's his all-time favorite. I was worried. So yeah, it's awesome that Horizon is keeping it around. I'm thinking personally, if Chris comes out with an RTR buggy, I think that thing would be awesome. See, okay. Well, always something in the works. So another guy was asking on here, let me see. Cameron, I agree. We need a low-C roller again. So our roller's going to come back. Is that something that's possible?
Honestly, if I had to put money on it, I would probably, as far as a truck goes, I would definitely probably say no.
Okay. And why would that be? Were sales just not there?
Yeah, it's kind of it's almost the same problem that the 5B ran into, is that people don't want to build it. And, you have a certain group of people that want to build everything. But 75% of people want instant gratification. I want to put gas in it, charge it, and drive it.
I 100% agree with you. I think, especially with the 5th scale community, rather than even 8 scale and 10 scale, those guys are usually more in tune with what's going on. They built kits before. They know exactly what they want. 5th scale guys, like you said, are like crawler guys that race. And, they want that instant satisfaction. Yeah. Even crawler guys now, they're starting to get into the builds because everything that they do is super customized. But even still, like when you're getting into it, and I would say these are all new racers that are 5th scale guys, the mass majority of them, and they want that instant satisfaction, like you said, upgrade slowly, and I think that's the best way to go about it. So I 100% agree.
I don't know if you went to like Proline by the Fire last year or any of the.
I was there. I've been all the years for Proline by the Fire.
Or went to like Axial Fest, and you've seen the crawler guys
there as well.
The crawler guys, like they'll buy the RTR, and they will like use all the stock electronics.
Yep.
They might upgrade the servo, but they'll use the stock transmitter. Where all of us will have one transmitter we like, whether it's a DX5, a DX6, M17 or MT44 or 7PX or whatever they're called right now. Like we'll all have one nice radio and run everything. Crawler guys will use a lot of the RTR electronics because they want to be like, hey, I want my friend to go with me. Well, if everything's on one transmitter, he can't drive my other car because they'll have 4 or 5 cars. And to me, a lot of the 5th scale guys are almost that same way coming into it, where it's sometimes either a guy that used to race years and years ago hasn't raced in 10 years, and it's like, I want to get to RC again, but I want to do something that I think is fun. Maybe they can take it to the desert with them when they go out in the side-by-side. So you go out to Ocotillo or El Mirage or Johnson Valley. You can take these gas cars with you, and they're super fun, but it also means, now we're older, we have a little more expendable income. So a car that you might put actually the same amount of money into building a 10 scale car as you do getting your 5T 2.0 running.
No, yeah, it's nuts what 10 scale guys are doing and 8 scale guys are doing. So all these guys are always saying, "Oh, it's so expensive. Oh, it's so expensive." But you really look at it, and to get one running pretty dialed is maybe a couple more $100 than like a dialed 8 scale, and it's a lot less overall maintenance, I would say, from engines to tires. You don't have the tire game. We've got 2 different companies that do tires, and 1 compound, and about 2 different tread patterns in each of those companies. Yeah. And it's not like 8 scale now, where myself and Billy Sutton were going through it last night, and I think I rattled off about 8 names off the top of my head between 8 scale and 10 scale tires. And the ultimate tire game that those guys are going through, and I've been in it, I raced it, and I don't think it's a good thing. It's you have to have, there's about 4 different compounds and about 8 different tread patterns, and that's for 1 company.
I think the other thing too is that it's super, super technical now.
Yep.
To make everything work right. I mean, when we started racing back in SoCal, and me and Slim and Thunder and MT would build go out and build the track. You tell people, hey, don't walk on the straightaway and don't put footprints in my straightaway. But you'd run a whole shot, you'd run a square fuzzy, you run a pin tire. It would be ludicrous, like in your mind, to go, okay, mount up these tires, and now you got to sand them to a ghost pin to get ultimate traction.
It's on another level than when you were racing 10 scale. I would say back in the day when I was there with you, where we would throw on hole shots, and the newer hole shots would just go on for the main, and then your hole shots that you ran would be like your practice and qualifying tires, as they wear down the pin. But that was it. Traction compound was just kind of, buggy grip was just, on the scene, but you'd do that if you really needed a lot of traction, but you'd still have enough traction with Proline hole shots, they'd be fine. And then the J Concept Double Ds came around, and now we're at this place where we're, grinding tires and burning them in liquid wrench.
I would probably be so lost for the first 6 months of going back and racing electric. Like, I'm going to have to bribe Frank Root to sit there and let me sit with him for like a couple days at the track. And if I decide that I want to go race some wheeler, because the new 4-wheel is pretty dialed, and like, it's got me somewhat intrigued to want to go race some electric.
Well, like I said, I got that new wheeler. I think that's going to be my new 4-wheel rig, and I'm deciding between the 22 5.0 and the B6 0.2. For my 2-wheel, and but I'm really liking how that 4-wheel's looking. Dakota looks solid with it. I've wanted to run another TLR car for a while. I've been running the AE 10 scale stuff for a while, but as I start to take over and do some more drivetrain systems, like the puck systems and everything, I think it's going to be, I'm going to get back into 10 scale, start doing more products for them, as well as the 5th scale stuff and everything like that. But I just want to go racing again, man. I'm getting hay fever.
We're gonna have to sacrifice someone's shop and go race mini T's.
There we go. I might have to go race mini T's over here. We'll jump out of it and everything, and make little.
I have some of that rubber sport court tracking. We can freaking make a dialed rubber sport court track.
There we go. Race the mini T's. Yeah, they just came out with the new Mini T 2.0 and the 40th edition.
Dude, I was so bummed. Like, they told us you're
gonna get one.
The limited edition ones, they pretty much told us, hey, you guys need to let people buy those.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I was kind of bummed. I really wanted one. And by the time I thought about I wanted one, I went and looked on our ordering system, and they were already sold out anyway.
Oh, man.
Usually lose, because they only made 2,003 of them, I think, because that's when the Mini T came out.
That's funny. And they sold all of them.
Yeah, dude, like in the first couple hours.
Oh, my God.
Like it was craziness. So basically now I just got to buy a stock one, and then I'll put the brushless in it and all the cool hop-up parts.
There you go. So
I probably would have taken the chassis off of it anyway.
Brent has a good question. I want this answer too, because I need one for me.
5B chassis will be available when the cars ship to DDM. So end of this month, early part of May.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to hear. Good to hear on the 5B chassis. I've been needing one myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe, some harsh truths from Joe.
Bashers want instant gratification. I agree. I'm a racer. I want instant gratification too.
Right.
I'd like, that was my goal with the 2.0 was let the guy take it out of a box, put a pipe on it, and go out and run it and be competitive.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, that's for sure, Brent. Need to be able to cater to both, and
I mean, I keep watching those big bore guys, and think, man, what would I do? Kind of want to build one of those cars with like those 70cc motors. I just don't know what I would do with it because I think, as cool as I watch those cars, like I think I'd get bored driving back and forth and doing wheelies, and I'd play with it for a little while and then kind of be over. It's kind of like I like running in the sand dunes for like 30 minutes, and then I'd like, all right, who's got a side by side or a dirt bike? Let's go for a ride.
Yeah, most definitely.
Because all it takes is crashing once at the bottom of a bowl, and you got to go hike down and get your car. You're done running after that. Especially if it breaks at the bottom of a bowl in Glamis or at like Dumont, and you have to hike down, try to carry out your 40-pound car back up a 100-foot tall sand dune, and then by the time you get to the top, you're so done. You're like, oh, someone come pick me up.
That's crazy. So you ended up you kind of stepped away from fifth scale for a second. You went up to Axial Fest, and you were like the main driver, like driving like the carriage up and down. What did you think about Axial Fest, and how can we get fifth scale to that level?
Axial Fest is an amazing event. Super, super cool. I think, like I said, the big thing, they have that big community of people. And the one thing that I saw there that you don't see at 10 scale or 8 scale races so much, is the entire families there. Where it's not just, the son or daughter and the parents. Sometimes you see grandma and grandpa there with them. You see, like there's a whole clan of them there, where they're all, it's there, and like people are making the time to make that their vacation. They're planning around things. Like I met a couple that literally, I think they got married in Reno like 2 days before Axial Fest, or the weekend before Axial Fest started, and part of their honeymoon was to go to Axial Fest.
Yeah, I think there's something about crawlers that, one, it's a whole entire community. I'll get lambasted for this, but it's crawlers are so slow and they don't break that you can give it to anybody. Anybody with two hands can drive around a crawler. And there's different skill sets, of course, when crawling different things. But as far as controlling the thing and going forward,
there is a very technical side to that. And it's a different type of competition. So like when we're racing, for us, it's time and the battle car to car for the win. Sometimes with the crawler guys, basically you'll see a dude take his car and hit a line through something, and his buddy pretty much comes behind him going, "Hey, hold my beer. Watch me do it better."
Well, and that's, I had the Traxxas Defender, an awesome truck out of the box. And I went up with Duncan, another fifth scale guy, and a couple guys up there at the Pro Line event. And they all had lights and, on their rigs and everything. I tied a big glow stick to mine, it looked like a huge antenna glow stick in the back, Yeah, that was my deal. And then we're going up this section, and I'm like, next thing I look back, and I'm like, where are all my guys? Like, they're all gone. And I had to walk back like half a mile, and I'm like, what happened, you guys? They're like, dude. Then they're like working on like one section of the of like this one rock, and they're tumbling over and then going back, and they're like, dude, you're going up the easy way. I'm like, I'm taking the path of least resistance, man. I don't know. I'm like, let's get this over with. We need to get this done. And they're like, well, that's not how we do it.
That's not the way they do it.
That's not the way we do it. And I'm like, just when he said that, I was over it. I'm like, I'm done with this.
I mean, Axial Fest, they work with Parker and those guys from G6. Like, they helped us out a lot when we were up in at Axial Fest this year. I mean, they spent days laying out the course markers, where basically there's gates that you have to go through. You know, and part of that too, it's almost like playing golf, right? Where you have 24 trails that they mapped out. And then you go check off. Did I finish this trail? I finished that one. And they're all laid out in different places. They might start in all the same place, but there's 5 or 6 different lines that they've drawn out that people go through. And it's a different type of challenge. I mean, you don't always have to have the latest and greatest. You know, your cars last, the batteries last, hours. But then they do interesting things like they did an ultra running. It's a 5K with the cars. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, dude, watching those guys do that stuff at a ski resort, I thought some of them were going to die, because they're literally probably having 700 or 800 feet of elevation gain from the bottom of the ski resort up the hill, and they're running like 4. I think they had to run 5 laps, and they're driving the crawler and running. I'm like going, dude, driving the car and running. You're like, to me, I'd probably going to trip and fall. If I'm running, I can walk and drive. I don't know if I can run and drive.
Yeah, they have a couple different cool events that I saw. I saw one, Davey from Coyote Hobbies. They had one with the speed run where you race behind your car, and they do have that. So I didn't know that event was going on. That would be something more that I would like for setup and everything. But like sitting there, and then where you have to hook up the little chain to the front and like pull people out. And,
they have like different things.
Yeah, I understand it. I'm cool. I'm a racer. I'm like, I need to get there right now.
Yeah, like that's, it takes the modeler and the hobbyist, the RC guy and and that modeler together, like, because some of the scale rigs and the things that they make, you just go, those things are bad. I said, if I finish this, I said, I don't think I'd ever want to drive it, because I'm like, look how bad this thing is.
Yeah, there was a picture the other night that Duncan had posted up of his Jeep.
In his little scale building. My
buddy Jason was looking at it. He's like, dude, I was looking at that thing for about 2 minutes. He's like, I thought it was real. And then he's like, shit. Excuse my language. He goes, man, he goes, that I saw it as an RC truck, it's so realistic. And that part of it, there's an art to it, and it's really cool. I don't have the patience for it.
Like I said, there's, talking with like Rich is really good at this stuff. And I'm sitting there telling him, like, they all have these axial crawlers, and I'm sitting there going, I want to go out and take my night crawler, because it doesn't take a whole lot of skill to drive my night crawler, because it's a worm drive. You pretty much can hold the throttle, just turn the wheel, and it goes over everything.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Brent Bisbee, better than Proline by the Fire. I want to try either one. Brent, I think that Proline by the Fire is really good introductory, as well as it's a shorter event, so probably better for yourself with the family and everything like that. Axial Fest is like 6 days or something. It's something.
No, Axial Fest is
3 or 4.
I think it's 3 days. But the day they check in and get everything done, I mean, you're there 4 days probably. It's usually,
at least when I was there, when everybody was like,
usually like Wednesday to Saturday.
I was there from like Wednesday to Sunday. It was gnarly. So I think, Brent, Proline by the Fire is an awesome event. Axial Fest is an awesome event as well. But I think that Proline by the Fire, to kind of get your whistle wet, I think would be a really good one to attend.
Yeah.
And then
I'm gonna have to build myself one of these SCX 10-3s.
We had, I think, Paul Gilmore. Are you guys gonna come to the Canadian Nationals? That's the one on the West Coast. We might be going up to Blackfoot this year, Paul, but we'll have to see the dates, as well as for the other one, for the one on the East Coast.
We might be wanting to race everything since we're all cooped up in the house.
I know we might hit both.
Yeah.
Maybe
but
flight.
I can figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, I think the one at Blackfoot for the East Coast Nationals is the end of June, I want to say, and the one that's on the west or on the East Coast that we went to, or that I was there last year. I've been there the last couple of years. The one that you went to 2 or 3 years ago now. Yeah. That one is, I believe, the beginning of August. So it's something that we're going to have to see, especially with the COVID thing.
If we do go, I'm going to literally build cars and leave them there with somebody and have them ship them from one track to the other.
Leave them with the dudes out there.
Yeah, we'll leave them with John.
There you go. So, and then
we can convince those guys that if they want to drive to Ontario.
Any rock racing at crawling events, I think that whole entire class is kind of taking a big hit, if I'm not mistaken.
We had a rock race at Axial Fest. There was there was a race there. They still race out here at Cherry Valley, but a lot of that stuff I think is same thing. They're kind of shut down like everybody else. Like everyone's events kind of got kiboshed, right?
Yeah, it just all the ones around here, and I think I could be wrong, but just talking to some of the inside guys, there was just the guys at the top were just kind of making it difficult and not fun, and it kind of just ruined it for the community. And then everybody just RC Mafia came in, done. Ended up shutting them down.
Well, and the thing with a rock racing event or a rock crawling event is if you can find a venue to do that, you can, like, a rock racing course isn't built like a racetrack like we know. Like, you can run a 4-foot wide lane, put caution tape and cones and kind of, make a thing. They used to have one at Glen Helen that literally was like went up the side of the little mountain thing, and but the trails were probably 3 or 4 foot wide.
So yeah, Neil Pesca, crawlers are a lot of fun. He's gotten into it a big time from what I've seen. K&K, there are 707 entries. It's a huge I went to K&K with it's an awesome event. I went to K&K with Mike Duncan. I think that was one of the last travel events that I had. That was the last crawling event I think I've been to. And it's a lot of fun and everything like that. My only thing is that it was like a Disneyland line to go through it. So it wasn't like Pro Line by the Fire or Axial Fest where you end up you can kind of do your own thing, at both of those. At K&K, it's a full competition the entire time. So you have to wait around for somebody to then mark off points and stuff like that as you go through the gate and everything. So it's basically like you go there and you're sitting around for a while and then you go on the trails. It's super fun because I like the competition part of it. I think I got like 6th, out of like 200 guys or something like that with my stock Traxxas car. And so I had fun there. I like that competition part of it, but it was so big. They almost need I don't know how you would do it, but to move the program faster.
It takes
very, very cool event.
Takes a lot of staff to do that stuff.
It takes a lot of people to do it, and courses and everything. But K&K is a cool event. If you guys can hit K&K. They're super good dudes out there. And then we have, who else is on here? Brandon Wynn. Hey, man, ready to get out and get going. Fridges stock. Brandon Wynn is one of the racers out east. He was going to, I do believe, Hostile Fest and stuff like that back in the day.
Oh, okay.
So he's a very cool
dude. Those are back in my HPI Baja days, man.
I know, man. That's good stuff.
That's when I did a lot of events with John Schultz. We went to a lot of events, too, doing HPI Baja stuff. He really kind of sucked me into a lot of this fifth scale stuff. And then I sucked in some people like Chris Bartolone from doing GoPed stuff to, hey, you make Go Fast motors. I need a Go Fast motor.
Need the Go Fast stuff. Now, we're both running Barlone Engines. It makes very, very good stuff. Big shout out to the other main manufacturer, OBR. They really put in a lot of time in the community.
Barlone and OBR is like the Ford and Chevy of our community.
It is definitely, what is it, Ford versus Ferrari? For that new movie that came out.
Yeah.
It's definitely
I still haven't seen that.
Both are awesome guys. Both are awesome guys. And Brent Bisbee, okay, if we go up there, that's a lot of drinking. A lot of Dr. Peppers, right? Right there, Brent?
It's lots of water for hydration because Axial Fest is at a high elevation and you'll dehydrate.
Yeah, see?
and you need things like bug spray, and that's.
And then Cameron Martin made a comment, but I can't post that on Facebook. I cannot post that. I'm not going to answer that question. Let me see here. Lots of people commenting. Thank you guys for commenting. Keep on letting them come if you have any questions.
We can talk a little bit. We can talk a little bit about your pistons and stuff that we ran in the buggy.
Let me get right into that. I got another little camera set up here, pretty dialed. Let me see if
let me actually go find my notes because I went through literally as I was trying to dial the thing in. I literally had a water bottle full of shock oil because I kept changing.
Getting them all dialed in. So as you guys can see on our mod product screen here is a couple products that Chris uses in his. These will go straight on a Losi, and he's been running our new piston packs. These are for the stock shock, so the bypass pistons, part number 19780, and he used these to win his worlds in the buggy class, and then also has been running them in truck. And we're going to be getting Chris's setups on the Mod Speed Shop site. And
I need to actually write that all stuff down. Like it's literally on my phone. Of like this.
So you've been running these since the inception, Chris, and you also gave me a scare because you put them in incorrectly and destroyed them on me. But that was user error.
Yeah, so, I'll take that one.
You'll take that one. I was like, what are you doing?
It did build the way that you had to think.
We won't go there, Chris. We won't even go there. Nobody said it but you. It was a solidified you. And then when you showed them to me, when you're like, Matt, you're like, I just destroyed these things, and my heart just dropped because $10,000 project out the window in 2 seconds in Chris Higa's hands, and I was like, I'm done. Yeah. Mod's over. So you've been really liking these pistons. What have they done for your cars?
Yeah,
or, the people kind of. Because we've always enjoyed them with the bigger shocks, and but we ended up designing these for the smaller shocks, and I think they've really been awesome and kind of a game changer for those shocks because I honestly don't know how you got around the racetrack on those other shocks, in my opinion.
like my car to me is my base set up with our standard 2.1 by 4 piston on 40 weight oil. That's like the OG Adam Drake gas truck setup. If you put the right compound tire or tread pattern tire, the thing worked everywhere. Like it was always, it may not be perfect, but it was always really drivable, like 90%. And then it was, let me tweak a little camber. Let me maybe raise or lower the roll center a little bit, maybe add a little toe or take some toe out of the back.
When I first ended up going through this whole thing, you told me your stock setup. And
you're like,
I was like, how does Chris drive this thing?
But see, me and you drive very different. Like, I can't drive your car. I think your car's horrible. It's so stiff, and so to me, it's so loose. I can't drive it. So what if I have to drive it so strapped that it's not comfortable to me to hang on to it like that.
Have you seen my car out there, Chris? I'm like 100% strapped all the time, but that means you can take it to that next level when you need to.
But that's the whole thing is you drive that way. I'm 15 years older than you are.
That's why there's a bunch of these that are out there. Just kidding. So what has the Pistons done for you and your cars? What does it translate to on the track?
So the one thing that you're able to do is get a little more pack into the car. So when you do over jump stuff, but still maintain the rebound speed. So what I notice is that like most of the time, I'm tuning the car to be able to go through bumps and things like that I might give up a little bit of that flat land if you over jump something. Which is why, if you notice, when I'm driving stuff, I'm always very cautious to make sure I'm downsiding everything. Where you can drive a lot.
If you guys really over jump stuff, you can go with some of these puppies right here.
Yeah, if you drive strapped like Matt.
If you're doing triples all the time, this is that, and you're just launching your stuff halfway across the track, and these are the ones, and these have the bypass pistons in here as well. And they're really good. But yeah, the pistons are great. When I drove the truck with the stock pistons, when I was first going through and testing and designing these things, and I had that first setup on there, I was like, man, I would have to hit everything just so precise with your shock package on there.
Yeah.
That I was like, man, Chris just has to drive within this limit, And I think when I put in those pistons, I'm like, I'm going to destroy the sales of my V4s because they were so good. You know, the new pistons were so good where I was like, man, this is, and I could get the setup that I wanted out of it because now I can get the pack back in the car, and I can get the rebound that I wanted from the valves, which are the valve shims here. You get 4 different valve colors, ranging from green, blue, matte color, and then brown, and they have different levels. And basically it translates to, you can get the pack out of the car, and like Chris says, the rebound, and just translates to the car just being so much easier to drive. Instead of driving in this level that you have, where you have to be super precise on everything, it gets you to this, with the window that you can be in. And then with the V4s, it's just a little bit more. But in my humble opinion, especially with the short arm buggy, I think the pistons are all that you need, and even the longer arm buggy, because they're so much lighter. With the trucks, I really like the V4s because there's so much more weight to it. But I think guys that are doing probably shorter main events, probably on smaller tracks, maybe not huge tracks, I think that those pistons are awesome. And Chris obviously has them working really well. He's been at the top of his game. He just won the Worlds with them, in his long arm buggy. So they've been awesome, and they're at a fraction of the price of the V4s. Both are a really good choice. I would highly recommend these things, especially for buggies, especially if you're getting into the truck and you don't want to spend a little bit more money for the V4s, but they're really, really good.
And one thing I tell people with doing this stuff is sometimes you got to take out a piece of paper, do a little math, figure out how much, if you have a setup on your car that you like now, you can calculate kind of how much volume flows through the holes, just based on doing a little math as far as how much volume will flow through it. And you can sit there and start working your way backwards with either, do you want to make a hole bigger? Do you want to drill extra holes? Like I end up drilling 2 extra holes for compression and 1 extra hole for rebound.
And that's what's awesome. What Chris is talking about here is you have your main holes, but you can see there's actually right there, if you can see it, there's a hole. Let me see if I can get another piston here. So this is our bigger piston here, but you can see, I don't know what the light, there we go, that you have, like, in this one you have 3 holes, but the other one's 2, and then you have 1 hole that's like a pilot hole. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's a pilot hole that you can, it's like a little dimple that's in there. But that's really cool about these pistons, is that before we had the octagon shaped piston, and you really couldn't tune it at all. There was no tuning to it. But with these, it gives guys like Chris, where they want to, play a little bit more with their shocks and everything. They know exactly what they want, and it gives them that ability to be able to drill the shocks and get it exactly to their liking. So Chris is taking advantage of that adjustability.
Yeah, basically, because I kind of knew where I wanted the rebound to be, but I wanted the shock to have a little more pack to it. So then you start going, okay, if I stick with the smaller hole piston, I can try to stay within a range of oil. Like I generally like to stay between 35 and 45 weight of the oil. I don't like, to me, the car gets in, it's a little inconsistent when I get into the really lighter oils. Like when it does, like it starts to really feel towards the end of a race, you can tell the oil, I think, heats up. When it heats up, it feels really thin. So the heavier, even though it'll do the same thing. It seems for me, at least the way I drive, tends to hold up a little bit better towards the end of a race. But with these, like, it's worth investing. You can go online and you can order drill bits. They're pretty cheap. Like I found a place.
I got them as well. I have full kits. I need to put them up, but I've got full kits in those sizes from 1.5 to 2.4 and then 2.0 to like 3.0.
Yeah,
guys with the full kit. I'll get that up.
Yeah, because that's literally, I ordered drill bits from, I think, from 10 scale stuff. So I think I ordered them from like 1.1 or 1.2 all the way to like almost 3.0, like 2.0.
Yep, I've got all those in the set for guys. I'll have to get that up on the site really soon.
It's kind of one of the things where if you're not sure, start with a small hole because you can always make the hole bigger.
You can always make it bigger. That's what she said, right? You walked right into that one, Chris.
It's not fun when you're sitting there taking CA glue trying to fill a hole and then sand it back smooth so you can drill a hole someplace else.
Believe me, when I was first testing them out, because we used the shock dyno at MIP when we were getting it all, because when I first developed these things, I had to have a starting point. So that's when I asked you, when you sent me shocks and everything with your full setup on there. And I said, okay, Brandon, I need you to get it to what Chris has right now. And he did it to that, and we prototyped him at that. I got to the track. I dropped the car. It like immediately chassis slapped, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I sent my buddy Carl to bolt by the pound or something, and I grabbed a ton of set screws. I tried gluing it at first. That didn't work. Because already my one prototype set of shocks had shock oil all over them, so the CA is not going to bond quite so too well. So I'm there and I'm taking set screws and I'm putting the set screws into the holes, and then because it had 8 holes at that time, so I blocked off the 4 holes, and then I had my 4 other pilot holes. But because the set screws were in there, it actually bulged out the piston. And then I had to take the piston, and I had sandpaper, put it on a drill, and I was sanding each of the pistons down, and I was like cursing Chris Higa's name as I'm doing this. So I'm like, you gave me a shit setup, I'm doing this, and then finally got it where we kind of wanted it, as well as where you can, like I said, I think I went a little bit too low on the hole size for this run. I might bump it up a little bit, but that's kind of the beauty of these things, is you are able to drill them out. And like you found out, and you've been so successful with, is the tunability of the pistons,
Yeah, and because sometimes, like for the rebound, the thing is you can play, I'm wanting to run a certain amount of kind of going, okay, I need this much volume flow through to get to where I think it should rebound at the speed that I want based on what I'm currently running with the stock shock. And then it was, okay, well, like at Fear Farm, I drilled the hole too big, I think, but because we were doing so much work there, I didn't have enough time to change the valve for the main event. And I realized it was rebounding too fast. So when we went to Victorville for the Worlds, I started with a heavier valve.
Gotcha.
With what I had learned from Fear Farm, because grip level is similar, but SoCal Nitro, it still has a lot more grip.
Most definitely.
Than Fear Farm. Fear Farm's got a lot of grip, but SoCal, when it gets dry and it grooves in, it's like asphalt. I mean,
it is. I know guys were like, man, I'm like wearing through, their chassis protectors and skid guards and tires, and it was like running on asphalt. It really was.
It's kind of, a lot of times it's rare that I would actually run the aluminum skid plates, but I ran Bartolone skid plates on both my cars up there, knowing how abrasive the track is.
Yep. No, I run my mod skid plates. They're plastic, and I'm like, all right, I might need to replace them after this week.
I ran out of the ones I got from Kramer at QC Concepts, I think, which are similar to like the ones that you have.
Very similar. He makes them for me. He made a little bit different design. Mine are a little bit beefier.
Yeah.
Because we went
So
with a little bit thicker plastic. But yeah,
like 2 rounds of practice, literally went through one in the back. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna run out of these if I sit there and keep
I
doing
might have
this.
to give you some of mine. Mine are thicker material.
Well, that's why I was like, wait, I have a couple of Barcelona ones that are like adding another chassis to the bottom of the thing.
It basically is.
And I literally ran those. I haven't looked at them real close after, but I mean, I literally almost ground the back of the screw heads off of one of them, where it was with the plastic skid plate. So that's why I was like, all right, we need something either a little thicker or.
Yeah, Jacob Alton finally tried the mod big bore shocks. Love them. Yeah, thanks, Jake. Thanks, Jake. They're really good. I know Chris was talking about earlier with kind of throughout a run, the shock oil kind of gets a little bit thinner and it kind of loosens up the truck. So Chris has always tried my car like a couple minutes in, so it starts out stiff, but like throughout a run, you'll notice my car gets better. So as stuff,
that's only qualifying. I have a really good shot because my car.
Yeah, mine's stiff for a couple minutes, but I gear for like the 30-minute main. So I might have to have Chris run my car for a while and then be like, "Oh, this thing is pretty good."
Yeah, where my car's usually good in the main, but like I said, our driving styles are very different. Like
very different.
I'm nowhere near as aggressive as you. Like Enriquez drives really aggressive like you do.
He drives, I think, more aggressive than me.
Me and Bisbee are much more similar into the way that we drive, and that's probably just from us growing up racing a lot of 10 scale.
Yes. Brett's one of the old school 10 scale guys as well, racing JBRL. Oh, I think he's the originator of the Red Cup Society.
Yeah, so, they're OG Team Red Cup.
OG Team Red Cup. So pistons have been awesome for you. We're going to get those setups on there for you guys. So if you guys want to grab, the 19780 here or the big bore set of shocks, they come with 7 pairs of springs in here, all the shocks. We do build them up for guys if they want that option. It's kind of like the in and out secret menu. If you guys want the fully built ones,
your truck.
Grab those as well, So, but they're both really, really good. Chris has had awesome with it. So, Chris, we'll get on now to the clutches.
Oh yeah, the clutch, the clutch with the new 9,000 or 9. What is it? Is 9,000 or 9,500?
9,000 spring.
The 9,000 spring has been super, super solid. Like I think that gives it the snap that I was looking for. That. Because I remember I ran the original one, and I probably was the one always in Matt's ear. Hey, I broke a clutch spring.
Yep.
Hey, I broke a clutch spring, and he was like, "What are you doing wrong?" I'm like, "I'm not." I wasn't sure what I was doing. I'm not going to put it in. Ran it.
When we took this over from MIP, the project, we did a couple things with it. Every part of it's actually been touched since then. The 8K springs we had back in the day. They were seemingly brittle, so we ended up changing that up. We went with the 9K springs, and they've been awesome. Like Chris has said, this thing's super light, so it's half the weight of a stock clutch. Like the metal 2 shoe, fully rebuildable. This is all 70/75 aluminum, and they last like a long time. I don't know about you, Chris, but I end up going about a year on a clutch even before I rebuild it.
I think it's more half the time is, every race I'll look at it after every race weekend. And I think a lot of times I'll change the springs, but I won't, the clutch shoes are fine. A lot of times I'll want to put fresh springs in it for a race.
Yeah. So they've just been really good. Like obviously the clutch springs are not in here. That's why these are flicking around, but you can see how free they are. But it's 8 shoes. We went with the carbon fiber flower. Remember how the blue flower used to burn up and bend and stuff like that? As well as there's pins that are pushed into it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's support pins. Yeah, you can kind of see it like over here. There's support pins that are pushed into it, but now we have a groove that we cut into here, so it keeps the pins inside. So they used to migrate out during heat. so we fixed that issue as well. We beefed up this a little bit. We ended up changing it so that it would fit on the 32 size motors and, of course, the 28s and 30.5s. So this clutch, I think, is for accolades reasons, it's the most winning clutch, hands down, in North America. Like,
yeah,
it just is, you know.
I keep telling you, one of these days, if I have enough time, since me and you are always helping everybody at the track, sometimes we don't get to tinker and tune as much as at a race as we want. But I'm gonna try it one of these days. We're gonna do that split spring that I wanted to do, is run the 410s and 4.9s.
Oh, you mentioned that. I never tried it because I put it in. I'm like, this is good, but that is good.
I've never had the time at the track to take the clutch apart and change them.
We've got no time at all when we get to the track. Like we're usually fixing our cars before that time to try and get on the track.
If my car's not dialed, but when I get there, it's probably not going to be dialed until maybe main event time, where that Saturday night I have to go hide in the trailer from people and work on my stuff, or wait till everybody decides that they're done and they go to sleep, and I go to the mat hours and I'm working till 2:00 in the morning.
That's just how I am, man. That's just how I am. Tonight I'll be up till 2 or 3, you know.
That's why you like to start racing at like 11. So, because you're up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
I've actually been better these days. As the more organized I get, the better on time I am. And I've been getting there earlier. I've been getting there way earlier than when I'm usually rolling in like 2 hours before race time, you know. So it's been good. So we ended up just coming out with these as well, our all new pinions. We had a little bit of an issue with these at the start. There was a major heat treat issue and ended up not going so too well. We broke some teeth off. It wasn't good, but now we got all that figured out. These have been great. I know all the guys out there, at least the truck guys, we were all running them. I know Chris has a couple of them, and they've just been really good, you know.
I know when you were having some of those issues, I kind of talked to you, and we kind of talked about some of the heat treat issues, and I said, this is where ours are at, just to give you a reference of if you're, where you told me they were at. I'm like, hey, dude, that's probably why they broke.
Yeah, it was gnarly. Like they were supposed to do, like, I forget what it was. It was like a case hardening or something. And
you need to through harden this stuff.
They went like the whole thing was just not good. It was brittle like glass. So even though the material was awesome, because the material's like awesome, it's just it ended up just breaking apart like glass. So we ended up fixing that. So all opinions are really good now. We got the clutches really good. We're going to get those setups for guys that I have a setup that I use with those shocks, but we also have Chris Higa, and he's been running for a long time.
That's on my list. It's on my list of things to do, and it's like I keep getting actual real work that I have to get done. So, at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I don't really want to go out to the trailer and with the make sure I take the caliper out there and start measuring stuff. And I'm like, all right, we'll do it tomorrow. And then like tomorrow comes and something else comes up.
Yeah, it's always fun. I'm 100% with you on that one. But so all the products have been working good. Chris has been having a ton of luck with them. So yeah, Chris, what do you think? You're going to all of the mod races. We've kind of started up something that was really cool. You helped with the inception of everything as well. And you're also a huge part of the community for the Fear Farm guys. You do all their track layouts. You go out there, you put in the time and the effort, work the Bobcat. You sometimes puncture tires, but I'm not saying anything, and but all in all, you're like a mini Joey Christensen out there from the dirt, making it happen. How is it going out there to Fear Farm? You've been one of the guys out there, and it's just huge contribution to our community that you're making that happen.
Yeah. So Bob Garver and Randall Morrow are now the guys that are kind of took over the track from Ryan and Ray. Ryan and Ray have kind of stepped away to just kind of do some other things. Hopefully eventually maybe they'll come back. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But they just kind of needed a break from it. And Randy and Bob have been really good. Bob has been the one that owns Garver Dirtworks. He actually provides the equipment for us to build the track.
Anybody out there in Arizona, you guys need landscaping, hit him up.
Yeah, if you need any dirt work done, grading, any of that kind of stuff, Bob does a lot of that. And they kind of, it's nice out at Fear Farm because the track area is big. When we moved the track to where the A-scale side was, we now have a box that's I think it's 270 wide by 140 deep. I mean, it's big for a track area.
I would say personally, sorry about me coughing, I chipped down the wrong pipe. I would say that Fear Farm is probably one of the premier fifth scale tracks in the world. It's got awesome dirt. The facility is located in an awesome location that you get a lot of people actually checking it out because it's right by the freeway.
Yeah, you see them crash into each other because they see the lights on at the track.
They see the lights on as well as they since the cars are so big, they look like 8-scale cars out there, with how far away they are. So it draws in a lot of people. The traction's awesome there. They have great watering. They've got awesome lights provided by Jason Moorhead over at I believe it's Solar US.
Site Solar.
Site Solar. Check them out. They have all solar lights like you see for like construction places where the boom goes up.
The solar lights are so rad because the track is all lit up and it's quiet.
Yeah, so he keeps those on and he ends up bringing those down there for testing, for the guys, and it's awesome that he provides that. He's one of our other racers out there, and it's definitely a community thing. But yeah, you're going out there, Chris, and you're building these tracks. So what kind of inspires you on these track builds that you do?
You know what? Sometimes it's I think I've been playing too much of that Mad Skills motocross game with Brent Bisbee as of late. That we've been battling throughout the day with that stuff, trying to keep ourselves occupied. It's like Excite Bike on your phone, but
in real life.
But I think what's funny is I remember talking with Joey about this stuff years and years and years ago. I asked him, I said, "Hey, what inspires you on some of these track lads?" He's like, he used to play a lot of video games. And he'd see something cool in the video game. Oh, he's like, I think we could build something like that. And I mean, it's like you ever watch Joey in the Tractor? He's super talented.
Yeah, he's really good.
I'm fortunate enough that skid steers are pretty easy to drive for the most part. As long as I don't, there's I'm sure Bob's seen me a couple times where I've sitting there been looking at the sky going, this is probably not a good thing. Building some of these things, or I build a jump, and then I look over and I'd see Randall or Bob going, "Are you really going to make it that big?" And I'm like, "It doesn't look that big until I get out of the skid steer and go stand next to it, and then it's almost as tall as I am." I'm like, "Yeah, that's maybe pit bike big. That's probably a little too big. I need to bring that down a hair." But I think for me, it's wanting to have some of that combination of Kevin Chase always liked the Lucas Oil type short course track. So the jumps weren't super big, a lot of high speed stuff like that. The last year of the Chase series, I did a lot of the track design and helped and worked with Kevin to build a lot of the tracks. And you started to see a little more combination of RC and short course racing.
No, that layout that you did for the first mod race over there was amazing. You had a cool crossover there. Just enough. I would say that's like, I would consider it, people say this, an 8-scale, 5th-scale track. Something that, 5th scales can completely get around, because I believe that 5th scale can drive on any track that an 8-scale can, hands down. The only thing is they need wider corners, no 180s, and you can keep their speed up.
Yeah, like
the only thing that kills 5th scale cars is having to stop and then try and hit a jump or a section.
so the layout that we built for mod round 1, like when I got out there that Wednesday night, like I always go out a day early for the race, especially when it's at Fear Farm, in case I have to work with Bob that we need to fix anything out there on the track, so that when practice starts on Friday, we're good to go. But that Wednesday night, because it was coming up to DNC, we had Spencer Rivkin and Jackson Brunson were out practicing at Fear Farm with their A-scale cars. Because one, they wanted to practice at night because they knew the main events at Fear Farm, or not at DNC, would be running at night. And most of the races now, not running at night. It's only usually DNC, maybe the Nationals, that get run. Like most of the main events get run during normal sunlight. And as we get older, I know I'm slower when it's dark. Guaranteed, I'm slower. Like half second, easy.
I know a lot of guys that are older and they can't see, and that doesn't help.
But like I got to talk with Spencer a little bit, and he was like, "Dude, this track." He's like, "We could totally race A-scale on this track, except for the Supercross whoops that I put in there for them."
Yeah.
He's like with the truggy. He's like, they're okay. He's like, man, these things. He's like, those whoops are really big for the A-scale car. But he's like, everything else. He's like, man, he's like, it flows real good. He's like, the landings are big and they're long, so you can go full send. And he's like, it's fast, it flows. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how things work. Where like Bob is becoming the berm master. Like he's got a cool new tractor that makes our life so much easier because he can move way more dirt than me just trying to do it with his skid steer. And like we're now able to kind of tag team stuff, and we're learning how to do it faster and utilize some of the help that we can get. So there's a lot of the local Arizona guys that will go out to Fear Farm when we're doing a track build and help them, which makes it a lot easier for, so it's not so much put on Randall or Bob to get it all done.
Yeah. Huge shout out again to those guys, not only yourself, but, Bob and Randall, they're going out there, I would say, almost every weekend, either doing something to the track or making it better. And they're putting in a ton of time and money and work and everything like that. So
even now, like people don't realize how long it takes to pump water off a track when it pours rain for a couple days. You can't let the water sit on the track like that.
And that does not drain without people out there. It'll sit there.
It'll sit there, and then it'll make a giant mud puddle, and then it'll never dry. And it's always soft, and it's just going to get destroyed. So they have to get the water off. And you don't realize how much water actually gets onto one of those tracks where you're sitting there. They're out there sometimes half a day pumping water off the track. I mean, Bill Mason is a big help for those guys, too, when he's out there. Those guys sit there, and it's a lot of work. Even filling the water tanks. I mean, Fear Farm has some other restrictions that some of the other tracks don't because they're close to the freeway. So they're very weird, aware of the dust and things like that. I mean, they between all the water tanks, I think they can hold 16, 17,000 gallons of water.
Wow.
But that literally takes half a day to fill too. If you burn all the water. That there's a lot of things that go into it, so like, hey, if you guys have a local track and the track crew or the guys building the track or that run the track ask for help and you can go out and help them, please volunteer some time. That makes it so much more enjoyable for the guys, because if you guys don't help the track builder in the places you want to race, eventually they'll get burned out.
No, it's happened time and time again. I think we saw a little bit of that with the chases, when they were the only ones around and, so much going on. And then you have complainers, people complain. And it just kills it for you, when you have these guys out there, you put in so much time and energy and work, and money and everything like that, time away from your family. And then you have people that are, excuse my language, bitching, and just don't need that. If you don't have anything good to say, just don't say anything, if it's not constructive,
Well,
so
that's the thing too, is like, if you're not, it's like, I remember Fast Eddie used to always have, what was his shirt say? If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
what it is, something like that. And that's kind of the thing. You're going, hey, if you're not having fun at the races, maybe you need to take a break.
Yeah.
And do something else. Because if you're just there and you're going to complain, and that's not fun for anybody. Everybody's trying to enjoy racing with their RC family and having a good time. And I said there's always 4 or 5 guys at any track that do all the work. And those guys usually don't get any credit for it. They'll be like, "Oh, the race was awesome," and they'll be like, "Matt, good job," but like they don't realize the hundreds of hours that went into getting the track built.
Oh, 100%.
Or the guys that are out there watering in between the heats. You try. It's like anyone that's tried to drag around 100 foot of fire hose with it full of water, dude. It's a lot of work. It takes a couple people to be able to do it fast. But if you have enough help, you can water the track in 3 or 4 minutes and keep the program moving. If 2 guys do it and they got to water the entire track, it takes 15 minutes.
And it's always the same 2 guys trying to do it, and that it just gets tiring. And I 100% understand and give all these guys credit and make sure that you're going out there and you're supporting these tracks, guys, because all these guys during this kind of crazy period are having to still pay rent, having to so if they need any help out the track, see if you can social distance, of course, but see if they need any help or anything like that, or just anything.
Sometimes the help is more valuable than the $20 practice fee.
Mm-hmm.
Where just having the extra body to, like, dude, I like building track. It's fun. It's like, to me, it's like playing with Tonka trucks for real. They let me go push dirt around. It's different than what I do on a daily basis, but I don't mind. I will spend 3 days in the skid steer, 12, 15 hours a day. But man, it sucks putting pipe down on the track. Like that's like the thing. I'm like going, oh, I'm so over hammering nails to put pipe down.
And that ground gets hard, man. I know, a couple times before. I haven't had to do it at the Fear Farm race, and I haven't had to do it at, I would say, Good Old Boys, which are the 2 major 5th scale tracks. But the other tracks we went to in the series, usually they're more so 8 scale tracks, or we're trying to run on both. But I know Jason and I we'll make every track work for 5th scale, because you just have to change the corners and how you line up. But we've pulled the entire tracks for pipe and re-piped the entire track, to make it right for 5th scale. Because if not, the lanes are too small or something like that.
Yeah, you're just asking a place where people are going to get punted.
Yeah, exactly.
And then people get off the driver's stand screaming at each other. You're going, no, we don't want none of that. You already know where, when you look at a track layout, you're going, all right. You're going, I'm going to go out there and Dylan Ferrandis someone and block pass him here, or
Yeah, so for all the mod series, we make sure that the track is just prime, and I'm just glad that Fear Farm has their, you're right there making it happen for the track layouts. How they should be, and it's been a huge help for the community. So hopefully this next, I'm just hoping that we're able to get back racing again, man. We're going to try and postpone a couple of these races, for health and safety reasons. But
we're going to be racing when it's hot is what's going to happen now.
Yeah, we're going to race in the hot weather, and hopefully
we're trying to not race in the hot weather, but I think we're all going to be jonesing to go racing. So maybe if we can, we may have to bribe Jason.
Night racing.
We may have to bribe Jason a little bit locally to potentially get us some lights for a couple of these venues for.
Yeah, I'll be pulling. I'll hook up one of those.
We'll be making some phone calls.
I'll be hooking another light up behind my trailer, and we'll just be towing those things.
Yeah. Racing at night in Bakersfield would probably be way better than racing in July.
Yeah.
In the daytime. We could start at 4:00 where it's hot.
It's still hot.
But by the time the main events are done, then hopefully maybe it's not bad, or or we go, hey, we're starting at 8:00 in the morning, we're going to run till noon, then we're going to take a break till like 6, and then whatever. But we'll work something because we don't want people out there heat stroking.
No, that's for sure. Well, our buddy Ronnie, he actually had a heart attack, not because of us, but mostly I think the heat definitely brought it out. But good thing he was there, and we immediately shut down the event, got him to the hospital. But he had and it was happening for a while. He was having chest pains for a really long time, and he wasn't going in, and I think the heat and everything kind of exacerbated it, as well as he was in first place. So, basically our events give you heart attacks. You have that much fun is what goes on. Yeah. But no, it's these events are really cool for those guys that can make it out there. Like I said, Chris is there. I'm there. There's a huge wealth of knowledge to come out there and learn from.
Our trailer doors are usually open to.
Yep.
And most people aren't afraid to walk into my trailer or your pit area or our pit areas. We encourage that,
Most definitely, and we're here to help with setup, or you guys need help with, something ain't working right. We've been through the grinder for many years, so we've pretty much seen it all, I would say. But no, it's really good. The events have been awesome. I think we've really been helping grow the community, in all honesty. Giving credit where credit's due. I think, the efforts of TLR, Mod, Barlone, OBR, all of these companies that are really invested in it, are putting in the sponsorships, are going out there, getting people out there, supporting the guys. We're having events now. We have 2 main tracks, that are running basically club racing every other weekend. That would be the Fear Farm track, obviously, in Arizona and Phoenix. And of course, the Bakersfield track, good old boys. We have Ed Turney, and Cindy Turney and Carl Woosley. Those are kind of the main cats down there, and they're putting in a huge push. I know that I talk to Carl every other day at least, and they're getting new people into it. New guys are coming down. They're running practices all the time. They're in a park, and it's really cool to see. And they're putting in huge push. So it takes us, because without these tracks, without these people, without the community, none of this is going to go anywhere. So it's definitely a group effort.
That's a lot of one thing that RC racing in general is missing, is there's no club racing really anymore, because there's so many different series that everybody goes to, whether it's 10 scale or 8 scale. You're always at what they call a trophy race, right? For your, where it's not club racing, where back when we started, you club raced Wednesday, Friday, and Sundays, and then they, SoCal, I think SoCal's schedule was Wednesday, Friday, Sunday off-road, and then Tuesdays and Saturdays were on-road. But you club raced 3 nights a week, and SoCal never, when they went into the Huntington Beach building, I don't think the only big race they had was SoCal Supercross. They never had a national, at least that I can remember, at the Huntington Beach building. They never had the big races like that, because I think they understood that club racing is what keeps the thing going. That's where Arizona at Fear Farm and Bakersfield, the good old boys guys, are doing a good job building their community, because that's helping to grow the community itself, because there's a place for these guys to go run on a weekly basis. And there's guys that, as those guys learn and gain more knowledge, they all help each other. Then when they travel to races together, then it's like, hey, you got the crew from Bakersfield, you got the crew from Arizona, you got the guys from up north, and then you got us that are like kind of the ambassadors that are there to help all those guys get going. We had a group from San Diego, you had that kind of group from the Orange County Inland Empire that did a lot of racing in the Chase compound. You had those groups of people, and like you saw a lot of that fizzle out when Irvine Lake went away.
Yeah.
They didn't have a place to go race.
I think when we lost Irvine Lake, we had Cigar Smoker. He was running that for a while,
Yep.
and we had a couple people in there that were running that thing, and we saw a huge decline after that. There definitely was, until I think Good Old Boys and Fear Farm came back. We were dead. Like
we were having to travel.
Like once I first started to take over mod, and not a lot of people know, with MIP and everything, I still help them out all the time. I'm still over there. I talk to Eustace every day. I still couple up on projects with them. I'm still promoting them, and I do events for them and everything like that. So we still have a really good working relationship, and I work alongside with them. But MIP ended up dropping fifth scale. Eustace was done. Like he Eustace saw the numbers. Eustace is the numbers guy. He looked at it and he said, "There's just nothing here for us anymore," and basically that's when we were on the decline. That's when Irvine Lake was going out. That's when basically the chases were done. All this, that was like the end of it. That last West Coast Nationals was basically it for MIP, and then everything kind of dropped off. And I still kind of saw a future in it if we can get a place going. And it's kind of, mod's taken on a life of its own, and I've really pushed it. I'm kind of like a hobby shop distributorship thing now, and kind of a pro shop that brings in a lot of different companies, and so we have the good stuff. And and I've taken their products, the MIP products, to the V2, V3, V4 versions, and trying to improve upon it, because in my opinion, having these good products that go along with the TLR products to just enhance it that much more, so much improves our hobby and our racing community, to that we're out there. And obviously, you're putting in a ton of work, and with the new 2.0, that truck with the 2.0, I think one of the good things that TLR does is they're listening to their customers, and they're instituting changes within their products of what's going quick, what's going fast. And I see a lot that you did on the 2.0 truck. That's like, this thing out of the box is like really, really good. Like, you got to add a couple things to it where you're like, okay, I would say for that truck, a pipe, pistons, and a clutch, to be competitive. And
you could probably race in the Sportsman or Expert class and be really competitive. And
right there, like it's got a lot of the good stuff already on it. So if you guys are out there looking to get into fifth scale, go to TLR, go to Horizon, go to Mod Speed Shop. Like, we can steer you in the right direction with upgrades, and the car that they have. You basically, all you need is a controller with that car to get into fifth scale.
Controller and a receiver pack.
Controller and a receiver pack. So you heard it from the man. Yeah, it's the trucks are so awesome. You got it down to a science. Like, you did a really good job on that platform. I can't wait for things to come with a buggy, hopefully in the future.
Well, you said that, like, those things were, with the 2.0, like, you always have these grand ideas of, hey, here's what I want to change. And then you go, let's figure out how much this is going to cost. You go,
yep.
Oh, I don't know if I can spend that much money.
No. Then you got to go to the people up above when it's not your money to spend. You say, hey, this is why you're going to make this much more money from changing this design.
And you have to sit there, but you have to go, what are the things that are important? What's going to make a difference in this truck to make it better?
And for somebody to say, hey, they're going to whip out their wallet and be like,
I
want that truck. I want
that
car.
When the 2.0 first came out, half the guys were like, it's no different than my 1.0 truck, until they drove one. And then they're like, wow, this thing's a lot easier to drive fast consistently.
Yeah.
Because, like, minor changes. Hey, turning the diff around, getting angle out of that front drivetrain, that front dog bone, it frees the drivetrain up where it feels more four-wheel drive. Like, because the rear drive shaft is straight, and the one you get lockup in the front one, it makes it almost drive kind of like a two-wheel drive. Like, with that angle in it, it bleeds power.
Yeah.
The straighter you can get those things, the more it frees it up. I mean, the helical design servo saver came out of the 8X. The servo saver itself is a much smoother action, and it's much more consistent through the movement. And it's a lot easier on the servo itself, so you're seeing much less servo failure.
All the changes that you did to that truck, I would say, are it's exactly what it needed. I know that 32
in it.
Yeah, that 32, like Randy Coleman went out there, he got a truck and he got all the upgrades from me. And he went out there and literally he beat me. Well, I ended up breaking, but he was like wicked fast with it. And like I went down the straightaway with my Barlone engine. He had just a stock 32, and I was like, that thing is fast. Like the stock engine piston port Zenoa in that truck is really, really good. So I was very impressed with the power of that.
I did hours and hours and hours of testing with that truck out at Fear Farm in like July. So it's like the hottest time, July, August. It's like the hottest time ever in Arizona. So you're on the sun trying to test. But I mean, I remember being out of the track with Ray and Ryan, and we'd literally go out and drive full tanks through the car. And then I'm like, okay, here's the deal. Guys, get your race trucks out. I'm going to run a bone stock truck. I'm going to be the rabbit. You guys need to try and pass me.
Yeah.
As long as I was 5 or 10 feet in front of them getting on the straightaway, they couldn't pass me with a stock truck versus their mod trucks, their full built trucks. Because one, I block really well, but
yeah. No, I know how you block. I don't know what race it was. Is
that Fear Farm?
It was at Fear Farm. That's right, with Coleman.
Yeah, we let BBG get out in front because you kept running into me because I kept blocking you. But that was a weird race.
I was out front, and I think I had a fouled plug, and it shut down my engine. They started me back up, and then I had to be behind you, which is like my worst nightmare because I couldn't pass you for the life of me, and I kept hitting you, and obviously I waited. Let you back by. I didn't mean to, but I know I was faster, but I could not get by you clean. And you were like, 10 feet wide on an 8-foot lane. So I couldn't pass. I would bob and weave and you'd be right there. And I'm like, God dang it, Chris. I'm like, I need to let me pass you so that you can put a tow hook on the back of me and I will catch Coleman for the both of us, because you are just slowing me up right now. And I'm slowing you up right now.
If it was qualifying, I totally would have let you go. But main event.
And at the end of that race too, I think you ended up like breaking out or something like that, or you ended up flipping in front of me so that I passed you. And at the end of the race, even though you had problems, I was like, Chris Higa 1, Matt 0. For me getting by you because you were, like I said, 10 feet wide on an 8-foot lane. Like I could not, for the life of me, get by you. So yeah, it's ultimate.
We've had lots of fun battles. We battled there. We battled at CVR,
where both of us broke, and then I'm limping around at the very end.
Well, I hit that whole back straightaway, and then and I was like, man, something's not right.
Yeah.
And that was really funny.
My whole front link was like broken and doing this, and your switch ended up, going haywire on the same turn.
The switch went inside my receiver box. They couldn't turn it back on. I'm like, well, that sucked. But yeah, that like we've had some epic battles over the years at lots of different races, and
we've had some awesome battles over the years. It's been a lot of fun, and definitely coupling up and partnering up on doing a lot of the fifth scale stuff. Is really good because I say you need a team, to really make it happen and kind of getting it from all angles. And we've been doing, the series now has been really good. Having TLR's help and Horizon support, has been awesome, and support for myself as well. And that's great. Now I just need to talk to, I forget who it is, but I need to talk to some people over there and get the products into distribution with Horizon really soon, so we can get stuff around the world, because you guys have such a reach,
Yeah.
with everybody.
Yeah, that would probably help you a lot.
No, I think it would be really good. And I've had a couple times. I've talked to our buddy out there in Illinois, and I want to try and make it out to Illinois, out to Eli Field.
Oh yeah, to art. What is it? Is RC Fest is the big event that they do at Eli Field?
Yes, RC Fest at Eli Field. So I want to try and make it out there. I have not made it yet, and
that's right. I've worked for Horizon now for over 5 years. I have still yet. I've gone through Illinois.
We need to try and do it this year if we can.
And like the one time where I could have seen the officer when we drove to Indiana for Power Jam, we drove through Champaign, Illinois at like 4:00 in the morning in the pouring rain. And I'm like, I'm trying to go. I'm like on Google, where's Horizon at? I want to see the building. And I'm like, no, we got to keep going. And that was the longest drive was, me, Kevin Chase, and Kyle Christie, and Riley and Jack. We were in the van with the toy haul, with Kevin's big toy hauler behind the van. We're going through the funniest part is we're going through Champaign. It's like 4:30, 5:00 in the morning. I just switched, let Kevin drive. We get back on the freeway. He flips the windshield wipers on, and the windshield wiper flies off the van. And it's pouring rain. And then we're like, he's like, and I looked at him. I said, "Did the windshield wiper just fly off the van?" And he's like, "Oh, I got to turn them off so it doesn't scratch the windshield."
Oh, jeez.
But it's pouring rain, and then I'm like, all right, we got to find something that's open. We're like Googling what's open. I'm like, hey, there's a Walmart coming up in like 3 exits. Pull over so we can get, it's pouring. Yeah, we go to Walmart at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, looking for a windshield wiper to fit on the van.
Yeah, I know how that is a little bit with. I bought my Sprinter van. That thing was horrible because I had a turbo.
You're pro at taking the turbo off of that thing.
Oh, I can do it in like 4 hours now, stock lock and barrel. But it took me about 40 to get it in and out to begin with.
So if I do buy a Sprinter van and it's got turbo problems, I know.
Come right to me. I know exactly what to do.
I'll go up to Duncan's house back. All right, we need to fix this thing.
No problem. I left that van at Duncan's place for like 2 months or something like that because we're all doing something. It's sitting right in his bay, and like he kind of, Duncan's a really good dude, and but kind of every once in a while he'd be like, "Hey Matt, like when are you gonna kind of come over? I might need my bay pretty soon." I'm like, "Dude, I'm gonna get over there."
He's like, "I got some real work to do. Can you get your?"
I gotta make some money, Matt. Yours is just costing me money. So I love you, kid, but you got to get this stupid Sprinter van out of here. And that was such a nightmare with that thing. But I ended up buying it in Georgia, and we drove up to Canada Nationals, what Paul Gilmore was talking about. Ended up winning both the Nationals with the buggy and truck, the Losies up there. Crushed it. The cars were amazing. And then we drove down and went through Wisconsin. We hit Cheese City, ran a club race there.
One of these years, I'm going to make it to that U.S. Gas Champs.
It's fun. It's fun. There's really good dudes out there. And then ended up driving through there. I hit hobby shops on the way down for MIP and set them up with MIP products and got some fifth scale goodies in different shops. And then kind of came over. But my dad was with me, and man, it was like, I feel your pain with the long drive. It's like hours and hours and hours, and you're like, Jesus, this will never end.
Well, literally, I was looking at Kevin and Kyle. You're going, hey man, Riley's like 11. He can touch the gas pedals. Can we let him drive in the middle of the night? That's about where I was at. We're like, Jack and Riley literally slept through states. While we're driving through the middle of that, because we learned how to tag team it. Where the only time we stopped was for gas. Your gas and bathroom stop were the same thing. So we made it from here to Indiana. I think it was like 42 hours. We were doing our best, Smokey and the Bandit looking, eastbound and down looking version to awesome, go. And
awesome.
We're sitting there, and that was just a long drive where, you're going, dude, are we there yet? Yeah, I can totally feel your pain, because going from Kent, like Ontario, even when we would go to Gump's house to get to Walton, I didn't realize it was as far as it was. I'm like, it's in Ontario. Can't be that. Dude, it's still like 2 hours from Gump's house.
Provinces there, and a province is like a couple states, So
yeah, Canada's a big place.
Yeah, it's nuts, but super cool guys up there in Canada. Hope to be able to make it up there this year. With this whole coronavirus thing, I just don't know. People are asking me when's the race is going to be
Yeah.
postponed to, where are you guys going, what's going on. I don't even know. Nobody knows. Americans,
Maybe we need to see if VRC's
Americans cannot go into Canada right now. We cannot get into Canada.
Yeah.
You know.
Like I said, maybe we need to look at if VRC's got that Fisco racing, we'll virtually race all sitting in our houses.
I know. No, it's
I saw Little Bear and a bunch of those guys racing the other day, and I'm like, oh man, I could waste lots of time doing this.
I've run VRC. You have to get used to it for a little while, but you end up getting a handle of it. But yeah, those guys are doing a full. I see iRacing coming up. They're now doing that shit on like ESPN.
It's unreal.
Guys, NASCAR.
It's not on the Ocho.
The Ocho. No, it's mainstream now. It's not even on the Ocho. So it's we're all stuck inside. We're social distancing right now, and I hope it just all goes back to normal sooner rather than later. I've been wrong every step of the way, though. I'm man enough to say that, and I didn't think that this thing was going to go as far as it's gone. But
like me and you've had kind of different opinion of this stuff, and like I've had it personally affect me, like I told you earlier.
Yep.
That's why I was like, I said, hey, well, one, I'm older than you and diabetic, so I'm like going, hey, I'm at risk. I didn't check all the boxes, but
this whole thing is just crazy, man. And people just need to stay safe and everything like that. But at the end of the day, we also have to live our lives. So hopefully, we are social creatures. So hopefully this thing it passes us. Everybody's able to get out there and be safe. We can get back to some normalcy.
I literally hadn't left my house because I have enough food and things to cook. But I didn't leave my house for a few days, and I was just getting stir crazy. I'm like, I need to go do something. I literally just got in my truck, drove to McDonald's for cheeseburgers and some French fries because I just wanted to get out of my house. I said I don't want to get out of the car because I thought maybe I'm going to run by Walmart and see if I can find a couple things I need. Dude, I went by Walmart. And I'm like, how is this? They're limiting the number of people in the store. So there was like a line halfway around the building in the rain. I'm like, nope.
Exactly what you're saying. I needed to pick up some boxes because I'm cleaning mod up. I'm getting bins and everything, and I have all these bins that I get at Walmart. And I told Jason we went and got something to eat, and so we ate in the car and everything. So you can't eat in restaurants anymore. Yeah. So we ate in the car, and I was like, let's go to Walmart. So we go to Walmart, and I'm like starting to walk in the door, and the dude stops me, and he's like, no, you can't come through here. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He goes, you have to go around. And I start to walk around. Jason walks around. I just see Jason walking the other way. And I'm like, dude, what's going on? I go and I peek over, and there was like a line of like 50 people to get in the Walmart. I'm like, I'm out.
And that's been kind of like you. Like I've been organizing stuff, trying to get my office at home. You see my part of my desk here, but you don't see the wall on this side that's got shelves and bins and stuff on it of parts and things that I'm working on. And I was like, I need to go get like 6 more of these little totes that to organize parts so they're not all over my desk and all over the table. And that's literally what I was going to go to Walmart for. I'm like going, there are a couple bucks on, go get them. I'm like, all right, I'm probably going to go online and just go ship those to my house.
Yeah.
Normally I'd be like, dude, it'll take me 5 minutes. I know where they're at. Walk in, grab my 6 bins. The little Sterilite ones I buy. I think they actually sell them in a 6-pack.
Really?
The little shoebox ones.
Yep.
And you go, cool. These are perfect size to put stuff in, and they have a little clamping lid so they don't fall off. I wanted to just go in and grab one of those. And I looked at that line and I'm like, nope. I didn't get out of the truck. I drove by and looked, and I was just like, nope, I'm not even getting out. It's raining. I don't want to stand in the rain like that with all these people. Just went to McDonald's, got my French fries and cheeseburgers, and then came home.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I was out of my house in probably like 4 or 5 days. Like other than like going outside to test and stuff like that, but like actually drove somewhere.
Yeah, luckily we've been, the mod shop we have out here in Anaheim, right by Chris Barlone's shop, and it's just us. It's myself usually. Jason was getting stir crazy. Like I called him a couple times and like, hey man, how you doing? He's like, oh, I'm stuck at home. I'm not doing anything.
Well, he wasn't doing anything anyway.
He wasn't doing anything, and like okay. And I called him like another couple days. I'm like, hey man. He's like, yeah, I still haven't been out of the house. And then it started to click in my head. I'm like, hey man, you want to come down and just help me out at the shop a little bit? He's like, okay, So
he's like, I need someone to talk to.
I need something. I need to do something because it starts to get to you mentally if you don't, if you're not kind of doing something constructive and like something with your time, it starts to really mess with you.
Oh, I'm having good conversations with Blitz, and then he'll be like, I don't want to talk to you anymore, and he'll go in the other room and lay down.
So yeah,
I'll get up off the couch, and he'll be like, ooh, that's a warm spot. He'll jump up on the. I'm like, really? You're gonna sit right where I got up? And he's like, yep. I'm like, nice, spoiled dog.
So it's been getting gnarly, but yeah, man. So we've also been doing. So I'm starting up now. Once we do get back to racing, I've been doing the new live for races and everything, and trying to get fifth scale, that much more coverage. Because the thing is bringing out live RC is it's just super expensive to do. I've worked with those guys for a while, and the kind of production that they put on is amazing. But to get those guys out here and to do everything, it's just too much for what we bring in. So I've been starting up and I've been doing live coverage. But do you think that's been helping, with the community?
I think it's been helping a lot because I mean, you do hear a lot of people. Oh man, you'll see them. Hey, I was watching that throughout the day, especially on Sunday when you actually are using the moving cam. The new camera is pretty rad. Like I went back and watched the buggy race to see where I was blowing out at the beginning, and then can go. Oh look, this is where you can kind of tell you're going. Yeah, you can tell I backed it down and was just being safe towards the end, just going. Okay, I've got a big lead. I don't need to go out and Bubba Stewart these guys and just blaze laps. I need to go out there and Ryan Dungey, Chad Reed, these guys, and just be as fast, be faster than the guy in second place.
You ran a
pace him.
You ran an awesome race, and we started to bring on and doing the the live interviews afterwards, kind of how they would and talk with the winners in second place if there was a battle. So I think the coverage that we're doing for fifth scale has been huge. And I know for a fact that a couple guys out there, we have Jose, one of our new guys. I'm talking to him earlier. We've got a couple guys that hit me up and they're like, hey man, is there racing going on? Like we've seen these videos. Like I didn't even know there was a track there. I know when we were running at Wild West, a guy down there had a fifth scale. He's like, dude, I was going to get rid of this thing. I didn't even know, but I saw your videos, and same thing with Jose. He was out there. He's like, man, this place was only 20 minutes away from me. I didn't know it existed. So being able to use, social media to our advantage. We're streaming across not only Live RC, because I think that's huge, is that we're streaming on Facebook, Live RC, and YouTube simultaneously. So for the fifth scale community and that for anybody that's watching out there as well, I'm going to try and be offering this service basically for like fifth scale and eighth scale for like smaller events and stuff like that, where now they can have professional video stuff. So I think in general for RC, we need that to be able to grow our hobby because social media is so prevalent now that we can use it to our advantage.
And Live RC does so many more things other than just RC.
Yep.
Because like they do that. I think they did the scoring for the Mint 400. They did stuff with Supercross. They do a lot of these things because their timing system and what they can provide as far as splits and some of the different things are super, super trick.
I've worked with them for a couple years now. I do the Reedy race with them. I've done some Supercross events with them. Brandon over there and all those guys and Eric and, everybody, they know their S, like their programs, that they have multiple timing loops. They do everything. And, they cover the Reedy race. They cover Dirt Nitro Challenge. I'm not I've talked to Brandon Rohde about it. Like, he thinks it's a great idea, with these little local events that we have, it's not basically in their market, and it's not something that those events can afford.
Even something like a JBRL or a grassroots, they'll have scoring, but they won't have any video.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
so I think with Fifth Scale, we've been even offering that above what some of these other, very successful places have been doing.
Yeah. Where we used to have, I think a lot of the Fifth Scale video, we used to rely on Fangs, on Steve Perez, shooting video and posting them on his YouTube channel, where he did a lot of that at the Chase Series, where everyone waited for Steve to get home and upload videos.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it's one of those things, having Live RC right there where somebody can search it from their phone. We can automatically share it on our social media pages. People can watch, all day with us, and they tune in. I know guys, they'll post it up on their main screen, so if they're watching it while they're racing or somewhere else, but that's bringing a ton of people into it. It gives, it solidifies the event. It allows people to be able to look at the races everywhere and bring in more people, and more customers, as well as for Horizon and for us. And it's just really, really good, all around that we're doing this now. And I think invested a ton of money. You saw that camera I showed you the other day. Yeah. The camera's pretty bad. Before, I had like this little handy cam. Yeah. It was about this big. The screen was about this big.
Come on, you're like on. It's better than the GoPro.
It's better than the GoPro, but not by much. So yeah, we usually have the overhead cam that we run for everything, and then we have the mobile cam, which I call it, for the one that moves around for all the main events. Yeah. So we've been trying to set that up at everything. So it's been going really well. Now it's just we need races to come back, man. We really do.
One thing is, okay, so you're streaming across all those different social media platforms. Are you archiving those races where they can go to YouTube and find them and watch them later? Or, like, I know on Facebook you can go back and go to Mod Speed Shop and they can kind of go find the live feed that'll replay itself. But are they getting archived onto YouTube where they can find them there?
They do. So you can go onto YouTube and you can go to my channel. It's like Mod Speed Shop or Mod. I should actually know that right now. Matt Olson Designs. You'll be able to find me on YouTube. Anyway, Mod RC. That's what it is. Mod RC. And you can search on that, and everything will be there. So on YouTube, I don't have it where it has individual clips of each event, but I'll have
the 4 hour that we're running, right?
4 hour A-main, so you can scroll through it and see.
Yeah.
All the qualifying is there. Everything is there, as well as it's on Facebook. So for some reason, I don't know why, but with Live RC, where you can go to the event and you can click down on the event, actually Live RC will clip it. So when you push start on the computer for Live RC, it'll start the reel, even though you have a stream going, it'll cut it and then it'll do it again. But for some reason, the last couple times I've done it on Live RC, it hasn't been cutting it and been saving it on Live RC. But everything's backed up on YouTube. Everything's backed up on Facebook Live. So guys will be able to go to it. So it'll say like A-main events for Fear Farm Mod Round 1, and guys will be able to see everything.
Because I know sometimes that, like, a lot of the guys that are not having tracks local, and they just go, they're judging, I need to see some racing. Knowing that it's out there, where to find it. Like that, like I said, the A-mains at the Worlds were great. I mean, everyone, there's different lines for people to go. People are doing different things. I mean, you and Little Bear were super fast in the truck.
No, we were flying. We were moving, that's for sure. Pulling 32-second laps, and no, it was amazing. It's good when you can get that kind of, good talent out there. We had Little Bear and Kirkman, kind of coming out of the woodwork, coming back, which is good to have them because they just push us all, to another level as well, having good racers around, good pros. And it just makes it so that I would say a lot of the RC community sees Fifth Scale as kind of a bashing community. as well as kind of more, not so into the racing part of it. They think they're slow, they think they can't really handle well. But man, I know a lot of these guys get into these. They're like, man, these things are pretty dope. They've come a long way.
I remember a couple. I think the last DNC that was at Fear Farm. I remember letting Kevin Gahan and Dakota run my rent-a-car.
Yeah,
and those guys were just burning tanks through it. They're going, wow, this thing's pretty fun, and they went out there and they just wanted a break from take their mind off of everything that's going on with A-Scale and
the seriousness,
the seriousness of it. Granted, it's kind of the, hey, let's go over to the Fisco guys where they're pitted like look like a Glamis camp circle.
Yeah.
And they're going, hey man, look, all of them have coolers. I don't know what's in those.
Yeah. So, a bunch of red cups.
Yeah. And everyone comes out and it just kind of takes some of the edge off and make, you want racing to be fun, We all want to win, and we're, like all of us are pretty serious about it, but at the end of the day, we all are just out there trying to have a good time. So.
No, most definitely. Like everybody wants to, you want to be on top, you want a podium, everything like that. But the main thing is, I don't think that's, for me at least, it's not the main goal. The main goal is being able to help people out. Making sure that everybody's able to run. Now doing the live thing, making sure the event's running well. Everybody's having a good time. So that's my new kind of goals that I've set out there. And then when I go out there and run, it's almost like a bonus for me. It's almost like it's the break that I get from working, kind of a thing.
For us too, we have our crew of guys that we go racing with. Like, it's like if you beat me, I'm usually not. I'm like indifferent. I'm like, all right, he's faster than I am most of the time anyway. I said, but I pretty much don't want to lose to Bisbee or Enriquez or Josh Alton. What's the, oh man, he's in front of me. I got to try harder.
Ultimate rivals.
Strap up. Like if I get beat by you, I get beat by Sullivan, get beat by Little Bear. I'm like, they probably should beat me, but I sit there and be like, no, I'm not losing to Kevin. I'm not losing to Brent.
I need to beat them. Yeah, it's that's good, man. I'm super happy, that those guys are getting back into it, and hopefully keep them into it, keep it fun, and I think we're providing that at the mod series throughout the year, going to these different tracks, and that's why I kind of want to portray out there with everybody, is that we go to these different tracks to let people know there are other tracks that run fifth scale. Try and get a group up there, because fifth scale, there's pockets of everybody. There's a northern pocket, there's a desert pocket, there's a San Diego pocket, there's a Fear Farm pocket, Bakersfield, Victorville. So we try to Corona, Southern California. So we try and get all those guys to travel at once to come to a cool facility where you need to learn how to set up your car. It's totally different. You're not, you may be fast at your local track, but take you out of your element, and you see these new guys. How are you going to shape up against them?
You go from a big, fast flowing track like Fear Farm, and then you go to CVR.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's tight, it's technical. It's just a different kind of racing. The setup is different. The level of traction is different.
And that's
a different type of challenge.
And that's what I think is fun about it, and part of and I always attribute it because Jimmy's had a very, very successful series races that he's done with his Nitro series and his electric series, and I ran those religiously for many, many years, and in 10 scale for that matter, and kind of what he was doing. And I asked him, how different things went even before we even set up, the 2019, series. And it was just one of those things where I remember that we would practice at SoCal, for the JBRLs, and everybody would be getting ready to travel to those events. That was fun, because you go to these events, you're like, well, what tires do I need, and what's my setup going to be? And I think, and you camped out there, and that was part of, I think, the reason why that, you get so cultured to everything, where it makes you a better racer. And then you meet so many new people by doing that if you don't stay within your own ecosystem, So I think that's what I kind of want to achieve with mod, as well as now with doing all the live stuff, providing and helping with the hobby shop, kind of attacking it from all angles to make sure guys are having fun, guys who keep running, and that we're spreading fifth scale news around the world, and I think it's all working out really well.
Well, see, I kind of have this idea that, and maybe doing it at Fear Farm because they have the space is you want to do something kind of like OG Hostel Fest, where, hey, let's have some fun events. You've got the off-road track. We have an off-road race. There's space. We can build a dirt oval. Let's go turn left for turning. For no one that's ever raced dirt oval with a fifth scale car, it's actually a ton of fun, because you can actually slide the cars like a dirt oval car.
They're way cool. I know there's different bodies out there that people do. Actually, Bakersfield
is doing an oval national or something.
They're doing an oval West Coast oval nationals, and I think it's going to be slated. I think they're moving the weekend to the 15th. Which I don't know now with everything that's going down if it's going to be allowed. But they're having an oval race out there, so they're doing that, and then the weekend after is actually our race at Fear Farm for it'd be the 4th round. And since these other two are probably going to get unfortunately postponed. And but turning left is fun. Like, I don't like doing it like by myself. Like,
if you can get like 8 cars out there, oh my god! You can
get a bunch of cars out there, and you guys are mixing it up. And I've done it. I'm like, it's a blast, And somebody gets on inside you and barely pass. You're like, son of a gun, and then you get there.
Kind of like how we did it how they used to do it at Power Jam, where you would run off road during the daytime, and then you'd have your kind of dinner break, and we'd run oval at night because it's a lot easier to light the oval track. But like I had to kind of have this idea of doing, like, let's incorporate and let's make it fun for everybody. Is there's space enough at Fear Farm to probably do these things, because I'd want to have the big off-road track, want to do the oval, but I want to build sand drags.
Oh man.
For the big horsepower guys that just the motor wars. Because I know Chris and Dan love that stuff. It's fun.
Yeah.
When we did sand drags at Glen Helen in that rocky wash, all you did was pelt yourself with rocks, but it was a ton of fun.
No, that is really cool. So you bring up Hostel Fest, and I would say, like, even though we're coming back, in all honesty, we are. I think we're at the level, if not surpassing, where we were when Chase was around, where Irvine Lake was around. I think we're at least at that level and starting to surpass it. But now Corona's come around. Obviously, I think we're going to hit hard again. But I don't think that it's ever to the level of that when Hostel Fest was around and when HPI was really pushing it, and Losi was around. Was it that there was 2 manufacturers that was doing it? Was it Hostel Fest? Was it just the fifth scales were so new at the time that everybody was doing it? But it seems like we haven't been able to get back to that level of hobbyists, or is it just the community?
I think there's a couple things. The HPI car needed a lot of parts to make them durable. Like, they were decent out of the box, but there's a lot of aftermarket companies like Hostel, Turtle Racing, Axis, Vertigo, that all came out when the started to gain a lot of momentum with the Baja. Like, that's kind of how their name, I think, got out there. And they're like, guys had to put a ton of parts into their Bajas to make them work right. The Veloci truck, you didn't need to put that, you didn't need to put as much effort into to make it work right, because it's 4-wheel drive, is way easier to drive. Then it was, hey, you replaced parts as you broke them, not because you needed actually a performance upgrade initially. But I think the other thing is it had a lot of that basher mentality with the 2-wheel drive car. They still, there's still a dedicated group of guys that every October they used to have an event called Dudetoberfest where they would go down to Buttercup.
I think they still do it.
Well, I think they still do it, but I don't think they can call it Dudetoberfest anymore because it basically now requires a permit or something like that.
Oh.
It's but it's basically guys, they go out camping and they go out and run in the sand dunes and have a good time. And that opens up the market to having a broader community of people to do that. So that's why I think potentially if we can do some type of basically like fifth scale RC Fest West Coast, where we can incorporate different events for people to do. Like if they want, you'll have off-road racers that are racers. You'll have guys that want to run oval. You'll have guys that are big motor guys that just want to run, do drags, but
kind of do what they're doing at like Proline and Axial Fest, where they have the different events for different classes of cars and stuff like that. I think that is a really good idea, because I think somehow we need to reignite the we need to reignite it somehow for getting up to that level of where they were with the Bajas, because there were a lot. There was a ton, back in the day.
You have to reach outside the racers to do that.
I think that's a really good point. And because there are a ton of Basher fifth scale guys that I even see there that are posting on, 1/5 scale obsession and different stuff, and they've got these Frankenstein rigs that I would personally never do. But that's what a lot of the hobbyists do, and I think to kind of bring them in and see if we can get them into doing some sort of an event, would be, and reach out to them would be really, really cool.
Like, I'm not per se a big bore guy, but dude, I appreciate all the amount of effort and work these guys put in these big bore cars, because they'll go out, they'll anodize their car, it'll have a color theme to it.
Oh yeah, no, they're beautiful rigs. They're beautiful rigs. I don't understand it, but I can appreciate it.
Like you, I'm like going, I don't know if I would go through that much effort, because I just want to go fast on the track. But you look at these things, I'm like going, dude, that thing's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's way cool what some of those guys put into it. These big Monster 70. The clutches on the thing are like as big as your head.
Yeah, that's 73 millimeter clutch.
It's like 70 mil or something like that.
Like the other thing too that I almost missed from a lot of the 10 scale races back in the day was there was always concourse. Get everybody
looks the best and stuff like that.
Yeah, you give them something. I don't know, but like but with concourse and things like that, like. It's always there's guys that'll just bring a body for concourse. You go, no. You have to run the concourse body in at least a qualifier.
Yeah.
You don't have to run in the main, but you have to run the concourse body. It has to be run.
That's cool. Yeah, I think those are all really good ideas. We're gonna have to, once we get off of this this phone call here, we'll have to write some stuff down. I think it's a awesome idea. We can bring in doing all the live stuff as well. Make sure that it's out there. And
even then, like just seeing some of the work that some of these guys will do into their fifth scale cars, and that we can highlight some of that stuff where some of them may not be the best racers, but they're good mechanics or they're good builders or they're really creative, and they just love the sport. Like to give those guys some love and show them some of that stuff. You just be like, yeah, look at that. Like I think that is what's going to help to grow that community. And then if we can have maybe an event like that once or twice a year, maybe, like I said, you do one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast or something like that, or,
Yeah. So far, I'd say definitely on the West Coast, since we're able to do stuff kind of year round, our weather is pretty decent all the time. At least 9 months out of the year. Kind of our brethren on the East Coast, they have like 4 or 5. So it's been harder, unfortunately, from what I've seen, for them to even have tracks. I really haven't seen any tracks kind of make it out there. We had Keith, from Maryland. He was doing stuff for a while there, and then he ended up, something happened with that property, was going to come up with something else, but I think he's kind of like the one sole dude doing it, and we had Matthew Speed, he was looking into something, but yeah, I say it's definitely tough to try and get something going, but it just takes the people.
This might be one of those things we talked to some of the guys at Horizon, and maybe that's something we try to incorporate and go, hey, we've got all this stuff going on at RC Fest. You're going to, if me and you can get together and go, hey, we want to run a fist-scale portion of this thing. There's already an air portion. There's a crawler section for the G6 guys. There's a lot of different things, and it draws a ton of people from that area.
I think that'd be a good idea. We'd definitely be on board to come out and make it happen. It's like I said, coupling everything and working together. I think it's gonna, it's gonna be really, really good. So I know Lee Morrison runs really cool stuff out there. So hopefully be able to support him soon. And no, it's going really good. So hopefully we can get out there. I want to travel this year, man. I'm gonna get on a plane.
You want to get out of the shop?
I'll probably one car. I'm finding out that I enjoy it so much more when I'm running the shop and dealing with customers and everything like that. That one car is pretty much really nice for me. But
you're afraid of me in the buggy. I know.
Oh, hey, man. Hey, start ripping the buggy. Get the buggy ready. Chris is calling me. Get it ready. Okay. Our loan engine. Okay. Break it in tomorrow. It's the money engine.
Yeah. It's on.
Yeah, I called it out, man. That was the worst thing that you said tonight. Ultimate mistake.
That's right. Bring it.
Ultimate mistake. So we had a thing here from Neil Pesca, and he asked this on something else. Says, what do you think the virus will do to R? I didn't write that right. R in the upcoming months. Here in the Midwest, we have seen one cancellation and very little action on set dates for others. So basically what he's saying is nobody's committing to anything right now to doing anything. What do you think is going to happen? When do you think this whole coronavirus thing is going to be over?
I think we'll probably be on lockdown till the middle or end of May. I think they'll lighten the restrictions in June, but they're still going to limit gatherings, which may hinder some of our events. Like it'll be kind of, things where we're literally going to have to make tape marks on driver's stand where we're going to run six cars in the main event. To make sure that there's 6 feet in between each person on a driver's stand, to try and keep that distancing, or we're all going to be wearing helmets. I don't know. Full face motocross helmet. With
goggles. Exactly.
But I think June is probably when things are going to start to go. Like I watched some of the stuff interview yesterday on our TLR channel with Scotty Ernst and Kramer and those guys were, Scotty was talking like 15 events, international events he's had were canceled. Like the Japanese basically version of Roar, pretty much it sounded like they canceled all the events for the rest of the year.
Wow.
Or, for the most part, so, hopefully towards the end of the year, things will kind of get going. But what happens is you get towards the end of the year, it becomes flu season again. Right? So they don't want to get it under control, lighten all the restrictions, and then you have this crazy massive outbreak again, and then it becomes a repeat of history. So
yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's a super hard question to even.
I mean, I think too.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, they're watching the stuff on the news. When they're talking about testing people for the antibodies for the coronavirus. I think that testing is probably going to be more important than the actual testing for the coronavirus. So it'll be like, hey, were you exposed to it? You now have the antibodies. And if they can do enough testing, say, hey, if your body shows the antibodies, you're at a very low, you're a very low percentage or low risk to contract or transmit the virus, then that will, I think, help to lighten the restrictions too. So I think that
they were saying that this thing's probably been here since like November or December already.
Yeah.
So
I think that's going to be more important testing, and that's going to dictate, I think, allowing us to get back to regular life.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, man. But I agree with you on everything. I think, hopefully we can get past this, and that like I said, if we do get back to events, since we only do have 10 people up there, if it is something that everybody agrees upon and they let us out and everything like that, I think it'd be good to get back to the track, get back to some sort of normalcy, see your friends at least at a safe distance.
Yeah.
And, so we'll see, but I agree with you. I think, well, obviously it's going to last to mid-May. They've already put it for LA, and the rest is going to follow.
You've been reading some of these things too. They're talking about the life as we know it's probably going to change. They're going to talk about, hey, it's going to become where your greeting isn't going to be shaking people's hands anymore.
No, I already heard that. Like, you shouldn't shake anybody's hand anymore. And I'm like,
yeah,
all right.
That's, to me, that's kind of disrespectful sometimes. Guy sticks his hand out, you're like, no, sorry.
No, it definitely is. But,
he sticks his hand out and you Purell his hand with some sanitizer.
Yeah, hold on. Here's some real quick. Okay, now we can take each other's hands. So,
kind of listen to some of that stuff, and you're going, yeah, you're not going to see some of that stuff, and just like the way that you interact and communicate with people, you're just like, oh my God, there has to be some form of normalcy. Like, it
has to be. I think
it won't get back to 100% normal until there's a vaccine of some sort.
Yep.
But
I agree with that. I got some people playing guitars next to me. Get free music, and it's just nuts. We need to get back to some form of normalcy, but I don't know what to tell people for when events are going on, when anything's going on, because right now the world is literally at standstill. Yeah. And like you said, everything for, tracks around the world, nobody's running anywhere realistically. There's little cells, of course, but nobody having an organized event.
Yeah, a lot of it is right. You'll see people running, but it's private track or a private track day. Where you're like, you and a couple of your buddies out there doing stuff, but you're not seeing any event. I mean, granted, I did see that video last week at the Nitro compound. Did you see that one with Tanner, Rivkin, and Mayfield? They had to pit their own cars.
That's rad.
Mayfield had the best move. I think Rivkin and Tanner came in to pit before him. He came in and parked his car in front of theirs as they were running back on the drive.
Genius.
I was like, oh, that's an awesome move. I thought that stuff was pretty funny, but like, you're going, no, you're all social distancing. You can't have a pit guy. You got to run and pit your own car.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I thought was pretty funny, and the video was pretty funny. You go, look, they're keeping it a little light, keeping it fun.
It's good. No, it was good and it was safe. We have here Joseph Rashat from up in Canada. One of our boys. I think he means stay safe, guys. So, question for you, Joseph. Are you guys going to be having the Canada Nationals on the West Coast? How is this going to change you guys on what's going to happen? If you could help us answer that question. Then we also have Josh Mitchell here. Plastic partitions on the driver's stand. I think simple pieces of tape would be fine. Or he means plastic partitions that are literally between the person, like plexiglass. It's actually probably a pretty decent idea, kind of like how they're doing it at the stores right now.
We're gonna be in voting booths.
We can almost we can get together and probably make something up pretty easily. I would say that's kind of freestanding. I'd go and stick up. I'll have to talk to Duncan.
You know how crazy people are going to lean over the driver's stand though. It has to be clear. Like if it's actually
clear. Well, it was kind of just like right here on you, like nothing too crazy. But I think that might be a good idea. That's actually a really good idea, Josh. Might have to talk to Duncan about that. Get some plexiglass and at all the mod races, make up 5 of those partitions, and it would fit, for what would it be, 10 guys. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea.
I do remember seeing something about Blackfoot though, that they closed the actual motocross park.
Oh, really?
And the RC park itself. I thought I saw that posted last week.
I have the power of the internet. I haven't heard any of those guys say anything.
I know that like they can still work on the track, but they can't. And there'll be some people at Wild Rose Motocross Park. But they posted something, I believe, that said, they're kind of doing that social distancing, and they're closing the park until probably the end of the month too, as well, I think. But I do remember reading something like that about Blackfoot.
Yeah. Please note that as of today, Wild Rose Motocross Association has taken the decision to close the park due to coronavirus. This closure includes Blackfoot RC facility. With increasing stringent regulations, it would be impossible to properly stay within these regulations. This decision is for the protection of all involved.
Yeah, I don't know what the date was, but I remember seeing that. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, Blackfoot will also be able to get in to work on the park, and we'll work with something to ensure that regulations are followed.
So they can still maintain the crawler course, and I think the tracks. They just can't have an event or have practice or things like that. Like, people have to probably maintain that social distancing.
Yeah. So hopefully we're able to get back to this, but yeah, I don't know if they're going to be having their event. Hopefully, if this stops, but I know Canada.
Walton's out more in the middle of nowhere than, from what I understand, Wild Rose.
A motocross facility.
Yeah, but Wild Rose is like in the middle of it's in the middle of Quebec, right? Or not Quebec, or Calgary.
Yeah, so Joseph just posted up that they're on standstill with their event. So they don't know. Carl Woosley, I can make those. We will be in touch, Carl. That is a good idea. Maybe even have some posted up at Good Old Boys as well as some that we can probably travel with. I think would be really, really good. That's a really good idea that was from Josh Mitchell. Great idea, Josh.
That's going. I think we should all be out there with. We're all going to be out there in the paintball masks, like the OG ones with the thing in the front and the goggles.
We will be in touch, Carl. Thank you much.
They probably have to. The problem is they probably have to be 7 or 8 feet tall, because like for me, 6 foot's fine, but like Duncan's 6 foot something.
Like 6'3". If they're 6 to 7 feet, that's fine.
Like it needs to be,
Your mouth is always below,
Yeah, but you want it to be at least over their head. So I would think 7 foot,
like 4 inches, like forehead. Let's see, James Fleming. Oh no, that was Garver just posted up. What did Garver say? Randall and I can come up with something at Fear Farm. Yeah, most definitely, Bob. I think you guys can get on that. Be a side project. That's a really good idea from Josh Mitchell.
Well, plastic shower curtains probably would work if you made something that
would probably work. Yeah, it kind of slides to the side. That might be an idea right there. Good idea, Carl. Getting everybody thinking here.
Yeah. Use the power of the internet, right?
Yes, of course. James Fleming. Sorry, guys, late to the party. We have already answered, but what's the future of the Flow C5B platform? If you have any info. So, quick thing, James. DDM will have them. Parts availability will be there forever, as far as we know. And a 2.0 in the future. They're always working on something. So, that's basically
Matt got the answers down
right now. I like that answer. That's, I guess, TLR's main answer. We're always working on something.
Yeah.
So it'll be good.
It's kind of like everyone's got the standard answer when you can't actually answer a question.
They would have to be cleaned after each person exits. Chris, I don't think it's necessary. Well,
Well, we probably need like if you had bleach water spray or something that kills bacteria, spray them down.
The thing, my buddy, he's in the nursing field, and he says that realistically, the masks really do nothing for you. Just realistically, if you're sick, but like a normal person, everything like that, you probably have to have those N95s. And then if you even touch the mask or anything at any sort of time, you're supposed to throw it away and put a new one on, because then you get all the stuff that's on there, So, he said basically it's transferred through your touch, and it's transferred through like spit and droplets and sneezes, stuff like that. From what he was saying in an expert's opinion. So basically, I would say if we have something like that, like realistically, we're not coughing up there or anything.
It wouldn't be a bad thing if they got sprayed with some type of, like I said, bacterial.
Like hanging there with like bleach water or something, and just kind of spray it on the thing after everything.
Yeah,
probably wouldn't be horrible. But
I mean, if they were plexiglass, it's that you have that in a squeegee or something.
Yeah, we'd figure it out. But I guess something, in these times is better than nothing. As far as that goes, I think it's mainly for like a sneeze shield or a splash shield.
Yeah, it's kind of like what they're putting up inside like the supermarkets and things now. Usually, like a sneeze guard, like you see it inside Subway.
Yeah, it's a sneeze guard. It's not anything. Somebody can come around, around the thing and cough on the person. But it's mainly like a sneeze guard or something like that, or that kind of an invisible layer of safety.
Yeah.
That guys
we're all going to be face shielded up.
A little bit more at ease, that we're taking those kind of precautions, because when we are at these events, we are 10 feet apart already. We're outside. It's actually better that we're outside than in, indoor closed. And we're 10 feet apart already, and that's a good thing. And then as well as when we be up on the stands, the only time that we get close to each other. But if you have some sort of guard up there, I think it would, add a little bit of safety for the guys up there during this current time that we are in. Carl, did you already answer the kill switch questions? Come with some. So I know that Dynamite has a current kill switch, Carl, as well as working on stuff myself as well. So
there's a couple of them, like the Dynamite one.
There's a Killer one. There's a couple of them that are out there.
Killer B, was it the Hillentronics, the iKilly or whatever? I haven't. Yeah.
Bleach water from Cindy, yes.
Yeah.
Diluted bleach and a Hudson sprayer. Yeah, so we can like hang those on each one or something. Just kind of give guys a little bit of maybe some, just a little bit of confidence if they come out that we're taking some precautions. I think that's a really good idea. So, but yeah, gnarly, man. So I think this has been a really good session. This is the longest one that we've had yet. I think the most comments, I would say, from anything. We've had a good amount of people. We were up to 40 plus people watching at once, which is awesome. I think we have a ton of views right now. Let me see analytics for us, for everybody out there. So yeah, we're almost at 2,000 people reached. So that's pretty great. 147 comments. So we'll see how many views we have after this, but good to see everybody popping on, asking some questions for us. Yeah, hopefully, guys, we're able to get back to the track soon. I hope these little live mod talks are kind of, giving you guys a little bit of insight into kind of goes on behind the scenes, the integral people to the hobby, like Chris here, and a couple other people that I've had on that really go above and beyond to try and spread the goodwill of our hobby. And obviously, Chris is in the total thick of it, works for Horizon, and makes it so that he's the buffer and the sounding voice for what us as consumers want for these awesome cars. So thank you again, Chris, for coming on. Any kind of final words?
No, like I said, I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate our collaboration and partnership, and helping to spread the fifth scale love to pretty much the world, because you know, we have a passion for this. You know, we wouldn't do it if we weren't having fun or having a good time. You know, and that's I think the important thing that people always need to remember with this hobby is we all got into doing this because it's fun. You know, when it stops being fun, you know, that's probably when you need to take a break and come back to it. Doesn't mean you need to quit, sell all your stuff. You know, sometimes you just need to go do something else for a little while. You know, if this is the thing that totally consumes your entire life, at some point in time you're going to get burned out or sick of it and want to do something different. So having other interests is, you know, that balance out some of this stuff.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and just like you said, having fun, enjoying the hobby, and you know, and it's at the end of the day, it's a hobby. We all have a good time, and you're out there with friends, and keep RC fun. You know, don't take it too seriously. You know, none of us are, you know, from our racing accolades are paying the bills, you know, for this. Yeah. It's not happening.
Yeah, if I had to worry about getting paid because I was winning, I'd be working at McDonald's on the side too, and some other things. So,
most definitely. Well, yeah, thank you guys for all the mod support as well. I do this full time now as well, and doing all these events and trying to bring, you know, really cool products that help you guys out. And thank you to all the support, of course. I know Chris would agree for Horizon, and, you know, supporting the Losi brand and TLR. And they're always coming up with new little goodies. So, you know, thank you to them and all they do for the hobby and supporting, you know, all these events. And they're coming out with really cool stuff. Check out their new 22X4, those guys that like to do some indoor stuff. Check out, of course, the 2.0 truck. If you're looking into getting into fifth scale, I think that is the best thing to get right out of the box.
Probably, guys, we have the new Axial, the SCX 10.3 that just came out. That thing's rad.
SCX 10.3. I might need to grab myself one of those. Behind that box is actually one of your guys' Axial vehicles. And
I need to try and build one of those or bribe Rich for one before By the Fire.
No, for sure. By the Fire's now in October, so you got.
I have time. I was a little stressed that I wasn't going to make it. Now that they kind of moved it, because I think it was the end of next month or end of this month.
No, it was the middle of May. It was the same. It was the 15th.
Yeah.
Of May. So it's they're gonna be you know, shut down as well. So
yeah. That gives me time to figure out how to build one of these things.
There you go. It's new for me too. Don't feel bad. I look at it and it's like a foreign object to me.
Wow. Well, all that means is we have to put away the 12-volt tools and you go back to 6-volt tools. Or
no, we're talking 20, man. We got that impact driver now.
Yeah, hey, you can't use those on 10-scale cars, man.
No, not 10-scale cars. Not 10-scale cars. All right, guys. Well, thank you again for all the support for both companies.
Yep, we appreciate it.
Companies, you know, it keeps us employed and keeps really cool stuff coming. And it's really, really cool that you guys are on here and supporting us and watching. Make sure to go over to modspeedshop.com, grab a whole bunch of goodies. I have everything on there. And go over to Horizon, check them out, check what's going on there. They're always doing really cool things. And support the ones that support you. Thank you again, Chris, for coming on.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Really been a good friend over the years. I've known you probably the longest out of a lot of my RC buddies. You know, consider you a good friend. And it's we're going to have many good battles. I want to try and make it 1-1 with trying to pass you because you got so much skill with that. And I'm looking forward to many battles ahead once this whole coronavirus thing gets over with, buddy.
All right, man.
All right, bud. Well, you guys have a great night. Be blessed. Please stay safe out there, socially distance. And hopefully with that, we can get back to the racetrack and have some fun out there. So take you out of it. I'll play this little tiny video, and we'll talk to you guys another day. Bye-bye.
Peace.